All right, I'm hitting it.
Cut.
Let's get it.
Let's go.
Yeah, I know.
See me, I'm sitting low on 4G When you see me, I'm getting dope on 4G on 4G on 4G
4G Audio Podcast. Somebody's got to be the bad guy.
Always.
Who's gonna eat all the little children? Any motherfucking way. I'm Stylez the Prophet.
I'm B Show.
And I'm Jonesy.
Together we are the Basement Weirdos. This is the 4G Audio Podcast. As you can see, oh my goddamn shirt.
Yes, sir.
Happy Friday to everybody tuning in, and happy whatever day it is you decide to watch this if it's not Friday. Shit,
Much love.
But I gotta say though, I heard this statement earlier. I said it was somebody's gotta be the bad guy, and I thought, you know what, man, like that's true. We can all have, like, we can't all be good people, you know, like, so you gotta, like, sometimes some bad shit happens, and you know, you're like, that person is a bad person, but somebody's gotta be the bad guy. But then it was followed up with, who's gonna eat all the little children? And I was like, wow, you know what? I just learned something crazy insane from something that was so random and
innocent.
And yeah, you know, like, it's just like, oh shit, man.
Yeah.
Anyways, so special episode. You know what it is.
I think that's going to seem sorry to interrupt. That's going to seem super random to anyone listening later.
Oh yeah, for sure. No, but that's it. That's the point. Episode 226.
Everyone
I
needs
don't
a
have
bad guy.
I don't have a number for 226, but
A number?
It's 226. Oh, like we had 222.
Oh,
we
yeah,
had
yeah,
223. We had 224. That's it, I guess.
2 to 5.
Anyways, man, our guest doesn't want to be introduced, but he's here. What's going on, man?
Not much, you guys. Pretty excited to be here. Thank
Right
you.
on.
Honored to be able to join you fine gentlemen in this beautiful studio. It's pretty amazing what you guys have been able to put together here. And
Thank you.
Appreciate
it's
it,
good
man.
to be in here. Well, it used to be Radio Land or Podcast Land. I guess
Podcast
it's
Land?
called
Yeah,
now, right?
yeah, that's it.
So, yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
Fucking right, man. Thanks for coming through. I actually really appreciate it, too, because we talked about this before, and then even whenever I texted you the other day, I was like, oh, shit, I wonder if you remember. He's like, oh, no, yeah. So I wasn't sure if you still want to do it.
No, it was good. It was really good how you just kind of just told me that I had to do it on such a date, right?
Yeah.
You know, once I did not given the choice, it made it really easy to come.
Yeah. I messaged your wife, too. I was like, I'm taking your husband this weekend.
Oh, even better.
Oh, this is a weekend thing? Awesome.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we're going. Yeah, we're going for the weekend.
I can't wait.
Shit, man. But I would like to step back into the cars. We were just talking about some cars. We were talking about some Skylines and shit. So last weekend you were driving a Skyline?
Yeah, I first time ever I got to drive Skyline GTS, and I had to say I was impressed. It was I wonder why these kids pay this crazy money to bring them over across the ocean, and
Yeah.
you know, you see the Fast and the Furious and this kind of goofy stuff, but when you get behind the wheel and you're able to throw the gears and stuff like that, I get it. I see why.
Yeah,
You know, it's nice to see other people's passions, and when you get to feel it in a car like that, I get it now.
Did you drive it on the road?
I
That was
did,
about
yeah.
to ask,
Yeah. And you were saying it was this 6-cylinder turbo, but you know what size it was? Because there's a 2-liter, a 2.5, and a 2.6.
I should know. Me, circa like 2000, I would have been able to rattle that off the top of my head, but. I do know this. It was a 2.8, or it was an inline 6.
Yeah.
Six.
And it was from factory somewhere around 280 horse.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm guessing probably at least a 2-liter, but I couldn't say
Because
for
even
sure.
the 2 liters a inline 6 too.
Yeah,
That's what my buddy's was.
I think that's why they're so sought after. It's such a good engine. I've been learning this, like, and if you like, I know a little bit about big trucks and stuff, and all the big diesel engines and heavy duty trucks are all inline 6. So
Oh,
it's
yeah.
kind of interesting. If you're going to soup an engine up, it's kind of a good foundation, if you will.
Yeah. Well, and some people hate on the RBs, which are the Nissan inlines. Inline 6s. Some people hate on them, say they're not like super reliable, whatever. So some people will take the 2JZ from the Supra, Toyota Supra, and put it into the Skyline
Switch it
because
over.
they say it's more reliable or whatever, and you can get more power out of them. Like, like you could just like give a boost and shit, right? Like you don't have to like
put a bunch of parts into it
replace
to
all
make
the
it
internals to
powerful,
make it like you can get 700 to 1,000 just.
I think
the way
these
it is.
inline 6s are pretty much like they're like that too. Same idea.
With this.
Yeah, why not? I guess, eh? When in Rome.
When in
they
Rome,
say.
as they say.
But no, I had the same idea too with the inline 6s because I was like, yo, there must be something to this. Like they're still using them, they're turboing the shit out of them, and then like you said, like heavy machinery and stuff use them too. Like, excuse me.
Yeah, it's a shame we just figured this out and everything's going electric, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
Crazy,
yeah.
Crazy.
Man, even too like we were talking about the.
I love the stick there, boys.
Yeah,
That's,
yeah. That's compliments of my
Fan favorite.
my
yeah.
dad. Oh
Ricky
shit.
boy.
It was yeah. Shout out Rick. But no,
Uncle
just
Rick.
we were talking about the expensive cars and stuff earlier too. We were talking about the Bugatti and stuff like that with all that
Yeah.
crazy shit. And then you're talking about the electric cars. So like Brandon here watches a lot of F1,
Okay.
Yeah.
and they have electric. So it's what's it called?
Hybrid turbos. They're hybrid turbos, basically.
So yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I don't know exactly how they work, but they obviously harness they use the electricity for overtaking and for accelerating, right, without using the engine, and then they also harness it through braking into corners.
Oh,
and
really?
Yeah.
I wasn't.
And
So
so some laps they don't even have a battery to push the car with. You know what I mean? To attack a.
They all run that?
Yeah.
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 So
Are they not?
basically,
Is the I guess if they all run it, but you think the battery would be a disadvantage from a weight standpoint?
yeah.
Well,
But like
I'm sure they've figured the
They
way
could like
out.
counteract that with
Yeah,
something,
yeah.
right? Are you saying it's
Yeah.
lighter or heavier than a regular engine would be?
The battery would, yeah, I think
Would
it
make it
be
heavier
Well,
overall,
yeah,
right?
but even adding that extra electric
cars
motor is
are
going to make it
bigger.
heavier too. You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
The
But
cars
the
are at
thing
the
is
biggest they've ever been, I believe.
But
Are
what
they?
I'm,
Yeah.
but what I'm
Okay.
getting at though is
They're
like
wild
so,
looking now. Like
Oh, yeah.
they look unreal.
Like space
But
shuttles.
what I'm getting at is it's like so they took the hybrid like what we had before as like a Prius or some shit, right? As a hybrid, but they took that, but they're using it for performance.
Yeah.
So then the thing is with the hybrids before, like the non-sporty type shit, like they would use the battery, like in town or something, or like certain
Yeah,
shit. But like what this does is it uses the battery
for the highest end of performance.
for
To
both
get up
those. So
to
like
speed,
even
yeah.
say like for this first little bit to like launch, and then even say like that when you're going fast to get that little bit, right? So because there's more torque, you know what I mean, with the electric shit. But the reason why I'm saying all that is they use that in F1, but there's cars coming out now like I forget what it is, but it's like a supercar, like a Bugatti or something like that. But then there's another one that's a Mercedes C63 or whatever, and my buddy made me watch a video on it because he's gonna buy one. But so basically, because I'm like, what? I'm like, why would you want that? Whatever. He's like, no. Apparently, like it's crazy. They're using this F1 technology where when me and you line up and you have the gas one, I have the hybrid one. I'm gonna take off at first because I'm using the electric motor, right? So I have that more torque and that power to go right now and get there.
Yeah.
But then like it takes over. But then say we're like cruising, we're both doing 100, and we're both like on our motors, and then I fucking tramp it. The electric takes over because it wants me to get going. You know what I mean? So the same as sometimes like your car will like double downshift an
Yeah,
automatic. It's kind of like that. So when you like really tramp it, it knows okay we need this power instead.
I guess I'm
you know?
more of a
Going.
traditionalist. Like you can have the fastest electric thing in the world, but when you lose that sort of combustion idea of like an explosion, then that's what's perpetuating you, and you're harnessing an
Yeah,
explosion, and you're channeling that explosion down the drive line to the wheels, to the tires, and hopefully those tires are well engineered enough that they're not going to spin off, and you can put that explosion to the pavement, you know, and
There
you
you
get
go,
that
yeah.
sound and the smell.
Well, the
of
way they're
fuel
designed is like an upside down airplane. Really, they're
Yeah.
designed for torque and downforce as opposed to
Oh yeah.
you know.
But-
So what their
but I'm,
engines are.
Sorry, just real quick, but
Yeah.
I'm the same way too. Where I'm like I don't like the electric shit, whatever, and like. But I've heard like they're saying they have lots of torque and the power's right there.
It's not
but-
that I don't like it.
but
I
the
just
one thing-
think it's not as like
Well, yeah, because you don't.
alluring to me. Like
No, exactly. But the
like
thing is
it's like a Harley Davidson, or do you want an electric scooter? You know, like
Yeah.
they do
Right.
the same thing from a principle standpoint,
Oh,
but
yeah.
like one's
I
like
want-
way cooler.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
Like, you know, it's
Yeah.
got that allure to it.
I want
And
my
the
car.
It's
sound.
gonna be
I
like Gen
want
Z like car guys that are just like total computer nerds.
You're
That are,
right,
like,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah,
That
but
have
it's
no
already
idea
happening.
how
Half
to
a
like
Formula
a
One
regular
is-
engine
yeah.
would
But yo,
work,
it's already
but-
happening. There's
Yeah.
kids
Oh,
out
for
there that are
sure.
tuning cars. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
they're
like
tuning
kudos
the
to
cars.
them,
But
it's
yo,
cool
but-
to them, right? But I guess like if they don't know any better, but it's just that.
But like,
it's
I want
hard
my
to-
car to make as
Yeah.
much noise as possible. But at the same time, though, like the capability of this shit, like Ken Block went and hung out with Von Gittin Jr. from RTR.
Oh, there's no argument
Ready to race?
on how quick
It's
instant, right?
Mhm.
Well,
Instant
Yeah,
but what
torque,
he was saying
yeah.
though, is that like they add, he said the more differentials you put onto it, the car had 6 motors. It was a Mach-E Mustang. Had 6 motors. It had 2 differentials or something like that, or whatever the fuck. But he said when the more differentials you put on, the more torque you can get. So he's like, you could potentially have like 3,000 fucking horsepower and like 6,500 foot-pounds of torque.
Yeah.
And as soon as you hit your throttle, there it is, you know.
But you're like channeling again all that torque through so many gears and stuff like that too, right? So there's like
the response time.
That.
But there's only one gear.
It's got to all the differentials in itself. If you're multiplying torque, you're using gearing to do that.
Yeah,
Right.
okay, yeah.
So,
I thought you meant like first, second, third, fourth.
Yeah.
No.
Gears,
So if
like,
he's using differentials as
gears.
a torque multiplier, you're running some sort of gear to gear it up or down, like whatever.
Yeah,
so
it's like pulleys where they.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see like what. He's dead now. Like, that's tasteless.
Well,
but
yeah,
at the end of the day, like I'd be curious to see what he was onto.
Yeah,
Well, no, it wasn't even him though. It was the other guy. Have you ever seen like a Ford RTR? It could be like Mustang RTR, Ford F-150 RTR.
No.
RTR is ready to race, they call it, I think. And it's
I just remember like SVT and stuff.
Von Gittin Jr. is this is new though. Like Von Gittin Jr. is a
like
drifter.
A Roush, the new Roush.
Yeah.
Shelby.
But Von Gittin Jr. is a drifter, and he used to drift a Mustang for Falcon Tires. And now he has this company, RTR, and they design all this shit, right? So they designed this Mach-E Mustang with all this crazy everything. It had a hydro e-brake, like it was a drift car, you know?
Yeah.
They made a special charger for it. Like, he's like, no one has this. Like, this is the only one that exists. It charges the car in 20 minutes, I think. But then you can race it, like, full throttle for 40 minutes. And, like, apparently that's, like, unheard of in that world, whatever. But, yeah, they were actually really onto something. But whenever I saw that, I'm like, man, the fact that, like, I see these 2 race car drivers being like, oh, my God, what the fuck, you know? I'm like, that's pretty cool, you know? So I respect the electric shit, but I want my car to make as much noise as possible, you know? Like, I want there to be, you know, like, I want the exhaust, you know what I mean? But then, like, if we can have a turbo or something on there making some noise, too, like, let's do that, too, you know? Like,
yeah.
because, like you said, you lose that feeling of, like,
electric, even though we still constitute it as a motor, but to me, it's just not motorsports. You know.
No,
I agree.
No, it's not the
There's
same.
a whole Formula E is for that,
right?
You know?
Yeah.
True.
People watch Formula One or NASCAR for the rumble and the fucking intensity.
Oh, imagine going to a race.
Oh yeah. So yeah, what they're using now in Formula One since 2014 is a 1.6 liter 4-stroke turbocharged 90-degree V6 double overhead camshaft.
Crazy.
Yeah. So
It's all fucking Japanese to me.
What is it?
man.
1.6?
Yeah.
Basically, a really
That's like
fast motor.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
as like almost as small as it could be, or
What's
like
the compression on it?
Yeah, tiny high output motor that just revs really high.
really
like,
high.
picture,
That's
like,
why they sound
the craziest
you know, when
street
you hear
bike
one.
motor you could ever imagine.
Yeah.
Times like 2 of them bolted together at the crank type of thing. Right? That's what it is, eh?
Oh, man.
Pretty well.
Oh, for sure. Well, and even too, man, I never even knew they made
Something
shit
like
like
that.
that small, man. And I saw a Honda 2.5 liter. What's the other one? I think it was an Indy motor or something like that. It wasn't F1. I don't think it was a different whatever.
Yeah.
But I was like, there's no way. I'm like, what the fuck, man? So I Googled it. Cause I'm like, there's no way it's a 2.5 liter V8 fucking Honda motor, you know? So then I like Google it. And I'm like, oh, it's like specific to this racing shit. But I was like, why? But it's crazy fucking, it revs like high and it's crazy.
Yeah, they rev really
compression.
high, like 10, 12,000 RPM.
Yeah.
Which is insane.
Yeah, they run like Formula One cars would be running at like 8,000 to 9,000, and that's where you want to be, you know.
Yeah.
That's where you'd like it to be before you're shifting, anyways. Like 10 to 11, you're probably shifting up, I would assume.
Yeah, like when you're ripping it up.
Yeah, like going down a straight.
Oh yeah, but
Yeah.
just going down the street. I was actually driving onto the highway the other day, and it was like this, like the on ramp was like this long, like straight kind of like it kind of like went
Did your hybrid
Right.
kick in?
and then straight. No. But I just was like, I wasn't even really driving fast either. I just sort of was like, "Ooh," and there's like walls on the side kind of, and I just looked at my brother. I'm like, man, I'm like, doesn't it feel like you're like driving out onto a racetrack or whatever? He's like, I guess so.
1.6. Oh no, that's obviously what it is. You asked about how much combustion?
Compression.
Compression.
Yeah,
right?
1.6 is the displacement.
Displacement,
Yeah,
yeah.
1600 cc's.
Right here, one compression.
It'll be like something to 1.
Down here, I'm seeing it, but I don't think anything.
Oh, it does not say. Oh,
Yeah, I
it does
don't
not
think
say.
it says.
Well, they'd probably be different amongst
It's a
them all,
fuckload. I know
Oh,
that.
for
When I
sure.
looked
Man,
it up,
they
it
used to
said
be
a fuckload.
V12 engines. You know,
Yeah.
they've
Yeah,
been
man.
trying. It's getting very political, and they're almost being made to be eco-friendly,
Yeah,
more
yeah.
eco-friendly. Yeah, so it's
Yeah.
people are falling out of the
Boo.
sport because of that. You know,
Ooh.
It
Remember-
loses its allure, right? Like
Absolutely.
It becomes like it's these things. I don't know if you know the foundation of racing and stuff like that.
I know my history a little bit.
right?
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
like the racing was developed just to show off like the feat
Yeah.
of man, right?
Yeah.
So, but electric cars, like an electric motor, it's hard to make a better electric motor. You know what I mean? They all
It
like,
is what it is. Yeah.
Yeah,
kind
you
of
have
thing,
the
does,
same thing
right?
I have.
Yeah.
That's right. Whereas an engine's like these race engines are hand assembled by like a certain gentleman that's been like
Yeah.
this crazy
Yeah.
pedigree over the years. And
Yeah.
he's like in like sweatshop floor bullshit. You've started
Yeah.
from the bottom all the way up, and now finally after a career of being whipped in some sort of engine
Yeah.
factory in Germany or
Yeah.
like,
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
Do you know who Nicky Lauder is?
I do not know.
No. Okay.
No, I wish
Well,
I did.
he
though. It
he was
sounds like it.
exactly that. He was a gentleman who walked on to the F1 grid back in the 70s, told these people how to set up a fucking F1 car, made it go faster, drove it himself, became champion and everything.
No
and
way. Eh?
There's a movie about him. It's called Rush.
Okay.
It's with
yeah.
one of the Hemsworth brothers there, or
for
whatever.
sure.
Yeah. Anyways, his story. He gets into a crash and burns like his whole body. Comes back the same year to fight for the championship against the American guy there, and he wins it.
Nice.
Yeah.
And he was just
Nicky
trying
Lauder.
trying new ideas,
and
right?
he was like a huge innovator in F1 for engines and how the setup on the car goes. Like he was like the first driver that came and was like, no, you can do this. You know what I mean? And introduced lighter parts to the car and things like that. So yeah,
What's his name? Nicky Lauder?
yeah.
Yo, did
Yeah.
you see the Gran Turismo movie?
Coming out? Oh, for sure, I'll go see that.
Yeah, as soon as I
coming
saw the
out.
trailer, I'm like, yo, Brandon's like
Yeah,
probably all
for
over
sure.
this.
Yeah,
Have
It's
you seen
based
that?
on the game type
new-
of thing.
yeah.
It's like a
the
true
game,
story
yeah.
of like some
It's-
gamer
yeah.
guy that was just like super good at the game and then eventually got into
shot
real
in a
racing.
car,
Yeah,
And,
man. He
Oh,
like
really?
GT
yeah, so
racing,
they
like
put
Le
on some.
Mans
So
and
Yeah,
all
so
that.
that's cool.
so
I went
he-
to a school with a guy that did that.
Nice.
He
Still
played the
does it today,
game.
actually.
He
That's
played the
awesome.
game, was so good at it, whatever. Then they like held some kind of fucking thing. So like him and a bunch of other people went and like competed. And
Yeah.
I guess he was like so good, and they were like put him in a car and shit, and like now he races.
He
and shit.
races real GT
Yeah.
car, yeah.
But
And it's
yo-
happening more and
But
more
yo,
too.
I want
yeah.
to see that movie so bad. You told me about it,
Yeah.
but then I was sitting in the theater with. Actually, I was with my son and Bully. Shout out Bully's own gang gang.
Yeah.
And fucking. We were sitting there watching, and the it wasn't just a trailer though. It was like a big long, like there was interviews and stuff, and it was big. I was like, man, I'm like, this is like even cooler than it
Yeah.
sounded. Like, man, I'm like, awesome, yeah. But the funny thing is there's like a couple shots where they're doing an interview, and there's a GTR in the background, and like, I was bragging to people about this. I was like, yo, you know, like if I pointed at a car and someone like kind of knows cars, I was like, oh, like what's that car? Like they're gonna tell me like the brand and like the model. You know what I mean? But like if you really know cars, you're gonna be like, oh, it's an EK Honda Civic, or it's an EG Honda Civic, it's a R33 Skyline. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I lean over to my kid. I'm like, yo, what kind of car is that in the background? And like he looks, and like the clip goes away, and like the car's gone. And I was like, oh, I don't know if he saw it. I don't know if he knows. And he just turns and looks at me. He goes, it's an R35.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my god. I'm like, he didn't say Skyline. He didn't say it's a GTR. He said it's an R35. I was like, that's awesome, man. I'm
Yeah.
like, thank you. Yeah. But no, I
He
definitely
knows.
I want to see that movie. Like, I was
Yeah.
like, yeah. And so I told him like, we're gonna go see that movie.
Yeah, that'll be a good one
Looks good though.
for sure.
It's crazy that could happen. Like,
Yeah. Well, esports has become a huge thing.
it's because we live in the Matrix,
Yeah.
man.
That's true,
If
man.
if you actually go and look
Pretty
up
well, man.
Gran Turismo esports, they have a lot of people that sim race and they do it professionally.
I was gonna do that the other day, but then I realized I had shit to do. You know.
Yeah, exactly, man, for sure. Like I'll do a race on a Sunday, maybe. Like
It's
you
just
know,
pretty well a
actually have-
video game is at that point, is it not?
Oh,
They actually
yeah,
have a
yeah.
thing here in Ottawa though. It's like a sim thing.
I seen that.
and it's
yeah.
like they have like a whole like room full of these things.
Yeah, I'd go to
But
that.
like, yo, let
I've
me say this.
seen
Let me
one-
say this though. Let me say
Okay,
this.
say this.
But it's like it's so legit and real that like people that are like go and race at the track like in Calbogie and stuff.
Oh, for practice.
On the off season, they'll go and actually they have a
Yeah.
league there where they race in it and stuff, right? So it's actually like people go there to practice.
Yeah.
It's that real, you know. So I
Yeah.
would be interested to go do something like that, just to like whatever, just to
Yeah.
see, you know what I mean? Just fuck around.
Yeah.
The thing about all these sim race games too, a lot of games, F1, iRacing and Forza and all that, the games do track mapping, so they have real tracks in the world, all over the world.
Oh
Gran
yeah, they have
Turismo,
for
yeah,
years.
yeah,
so,
right, yeah.
Oh, I'm not a stranger.
Not a
to
stranger,
to
yeah.
a good race game.
Yeah,
Like,
okay.
like Gran Turismo was definitely my favorite.
Yeah, man, I
Yeah.
love it.
And like where you could soup and modify your cars and stuff like
Yeah.
that. And
2 was the one I played the most.
I don't even remember now.
But,
It's been
like,
so long ago, but
So good.
I've been right into the
CRX.
new one. I've played the new one. It's really good.
yeah.
But it's
yeah.
almost too much to handle.
My
you
young
know?
lad, he was into Forza for a bit on
yeah,
I've heard
Xbox, and he's got a little
Xbox,
wheel
yeah.
and stuff like that. but-
Nice.
Man, I know a guy. He's got a setup. It's like, I don't know. It's like $10,000.
It's
Well,
expensive.
those
man.
things you're talking about, I saw one for sale on like Facebook Marketplace at one point, and I want to say it was like 21 grand.
Wow.
Yeah, man.
And it was like
Does that come
yeah,
with the screen too and
yeah, it
everything?
had all
yeah,
that,
okay.
yeah, and it moved like
Yeah,
everything.
moved,
it looks like
yeah.
it has like some sort of hydraulic or air actuators
Yeah.
almost
Right.
to like move. Yeah,
Right, with the
yeah,
Oh, you ever
car
see where
shit.
they have
That'd be
the?
cool,
I saw
but
one where these guys had
it's
one.
expensive.
yeah.
It was one of
I'd
those
rather buy a
setups.
car.
It was one of those setups, but then they had like the car body around it. You know what I mean?
Right,
So it looked
yeah,
like
you
they were
can-
sitting in a fucking
yeah.
golf.
Yeah,
And
Yeah.
this didn't look like a car, but it looked cool
No,
as
yeah,
fuck.
yeah.
Like it had like a cage and shit.
Yeah.
It looked.
See, that's like
wicked.
what my
It
buddy
looked
has. Is
awesome.
like it like moves and shit, and like
Yeah.
it's a real like shifter. And
But it
everything.
was like
it's
kind of like walking down here and seeing this shit. It's like who can set this stuff up so it all works? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
There's
it takes, takes a lot
yeah,
of
yeah.
Yeah.
It's like there's so many cameras and microphones and it all just works crystal
Yeah.
clear, right?
Most of the time.
The
Yeah.
craziest part is like with sim racing and then jumping into a real car like this Gran Turismo movie would be obviously the physical aspect of
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
You
they
know?
even showed it.
Yeah,
in
not
the-
being able to
you
yell at
don't
your
f-
mom to get you a sandwich
Yeah.
when you get
Yeah.
tired in the middle of the 24 hours of
Well,
Le Mans.
yeah.
Hey, Mom, can you get
too,
me
they
a
say-
Prime? That's
Yeah.
what the kids are drinking now.
Even
right?
too, they
That's
say in the
great.
trailer. They say in the trailer, like, man, like it's fucking like 150 degrees in the cockpit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's like fucking. It's not like just sitting at your house or whatever. And then they like the one dude's like, yeah, like that guy's pretty good, whatever. He's like, but like none of them are like in shape.
Yeah.
And then it shows like the next scene and they're running on the track and they're all like puking and shit and
Yeah.
whatever. But it's true though. There's so much physical.
It
shit
is. It's
to it as
seriously
well.
fatiguing
for
sport.
sure. Well, the
Yeah.
G's around corners and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah,
I
your
heard some
head
stat
would
that like
be,
the
thrown
racers
around.
actually like out of any athletes
would
like
probably be the
pick any
most
sport,
physical,
they like in one race they'll like
lose
lose
a
the
bunch
most
of
body weight,
Oh,
like
yeah, yeah,
you know, like
that's-
the
So,
most physically
yeah,
like
they'll- when
demanding kind
they-
of thing. I'm
when
like,
they
that's-
race-
like at first I'm like that doesn't make any sense.
I'd
They're
believe
just, they're
that.
just
Maybe
fucking
not
sitting
drag
there, you know,
racing
but
or
like,
whatever, but
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
intense.
yeah,
Go,
yeah.
go karting and push it as hard as you fucking can.
it's like a
And
full
tell me
body
how you
workout.
feel
Yeah,
after,
yeah.
yeah.
there's
You
no
feel like
air
your body's
conditioning in a
floating,
race
yeah.
car either.
Yeah,
Yeah, no,
and
for
even what
sure.
little bit of air is going through, it's just enough to take the fucking like the
The
bad air
fumes
out.
away
Like, yeah,
from you.
yeah.
Open their helmet on a straight a bit.
But I
to
remember
get the
hearing a
breeze
thing
in
where
their-
they said like F1 drivers train and actually go to the gym and all this and stuff, right? I was like, this was a long time ago, but I'm like, I'm like, the fuck? I'm like, you sit in the car and you fucking drive, you know what I mean? Like I get it, but at the same time, I'm like, what the fuck? But then I saw other things where they talked about like lateral G's and stuff.
Yeah.
And they're talking about like it's crazy G's. You take
Yeah,
this corner
5
at that
times
speed,
your
it's
weight,
like
man.
crazy G's, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, you're doing this and this, and you're holding on, and you're steering the car, and you're doing this. There's no power
Yeah.
steering, you know. You're
Yeah.
doing this, and you're doing that for hours. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like
2
it's not,
hours,
yeah.
man,
Like you know, and even
There's
myself sometimes I'll
24-hour stuff.
I'll rip
man.
a
The
road
Le
real
Mans,
quick.
Le Mans
But
is
you only
big.
do-
Two guys.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was 3.
3 guys. I'm pretty sure they
It was
do
2
3
when
now.
I seen it.
It was 2 back in the day.
fuck, Okay.
Right.
man.
Yeah.
So 12 hours each. So you imagine driving to Florida or halfway
Yeah.
to Florida at 100 miles an hour most of the way.
I'd fall
yeah.
asleep, man.
Yeah. And
I'd
they
fall
do,
asleep.
Around
one guy
corners
has to
and-
do the nighttime
Yeah, it'd be
shift.
insane, man.
Yeah.
It's just
Oh,
crazy.
man.
For sure. No, yeah, you're right. They did 2, and now I do believe they do 3.
Okay.
Yeah. And they do like what?
Even then, it's 8 hours,
8
man.
hours, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
still,
insane.
yeah.
It's a whole work shift, man.
You drive to to Toronto,
And you're
back.
hanging on to that car the whole time, I
Yeah,
mean, if
true.
you're like, you can't throw a text out or nothing like that,
Yeah,
you're at the
oh, yeah.
fucking rhubarb at that point.
Yeah, there's no letting up, not
you're,
even-
You're looking 10-2 and giving her.
Yeah. Even when you hit it, yeah, there's no chance to do anything.
Yeah.
You can't like nothing.
Ferrari
And
won it
so
this year
hot.
for the first time
For what?
in years.
Oh, yeah.
Le Mans.
Since like Schumacher or whatever.
Yeah,
maybe.
way back. Like, yeah, it's been a long time.
That always blew my mind. Eh?
So-
The guy was like F1 racer and like amazing, and then he hits a tree skiing. Eh? Like,
Yeah, you
like-
know
Is
about
that
that.
really?
Yeah, so
Yeah,
the
yeah,
greatest
yeah.
F1 driver ever is like in a coma right now. Like he
Yeah.
doesn't walk, doesn't talk.
hit a tree skiing. And
Yeah.
he's-
It's not the same as a race
Yeah.
car, I guess.
Go watch
But he
the.
was, like,
There's
in-
a documentary on Netflix called Schumacher.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
watch
was
it.
gonna ask if
Reaction
you saw it,
time
I
and
never-
shit, man. Like,
Yeah.
he'd probably be the only guy that could box Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah.
You know, he could hit Floyd, you know,
Yeah.
easily.
Yeah, he's from that old school day. Well, he watched Ayrton Senna die. So Ayrton Senna was a famous F1
Yeah,
driver.
yeah, okay.
And he was following behind him when he went off the track and died. And Schumacher, yeah, he's like one of the best drivers to ever touch the wheel. It's tied right now though for world championships with
What
Lewis
about
Hamilton.
that? Yeah, he's big time, eh?
Yeah,
Like,
he's big time too. He just tied him for the world championships. Well, not just a few years ago,
Okay.
and almost won his 8th. But then I don't know if you guys follow F1 enough, but
Loosely,
years
but
ago,
not close enough to
he
probably.
went to the last race tied with Max Verstappen, who's races for Red Bull now. Last race tied in points. Came down to the last lap. There was a crash.
Who's Lewis?
Safety car.
Mercedes McLaren.
Mercedes, yeah. And Max had pitted onto fresh tires and Lewis didn't. And then there was cars between them, but they were lapped cars. So then they let all them go ahead of Lewis, which put Max right behind Lewis on fresh tires on the last lap, and he passed him, won the championship. It's like scoring in overtime for
No
fuck Stanley
way,
Cup,
man. That's
yeah.
fucking
In
wild.
a race,
Yeah,
though, right?
yeah,
like,
yeah,
which is
yeah, yeah.
unbelievable.
It's like the most exciting finish
that
ever.
yeah,
Like,
for sure.
I'm sure his
so.
pit crew got a fucking tongue lashing for that one.
Oh, there was. They believed it was manipulated and shit, right?
Okay.
It was like a huge heartbreak.
Like a scandal type
Oh,
of thing.
it's huge,
yeah.
huge in F1. Yeah, big.
Like he bet against himself type of thing.
Yeah,
and shit
yeah.
or whatever.
What?
Doubled down in Vegas. Who knows, man?
Yeah, it's crazy. It was pretty crazy.
Yeah, maybe
you look
they-
it up. It's pretty it's pretty conflicting. Like you know
Yeah.
what happened that day, but it is what it is. Anyways, Max is a new champion now. He's won the last 2 years in a row since, and
Shit.
he's looking pretty. He's won every single race this year except for 2, I think.
No way.
Yeah,
man.
he's
Just-
dominating.
Who'd you say he drives for?
Red Bull,
Red Bull.
Max. Yeah, Red Bull's.
Which I found out apparently Red Bull uses Honda.
right
I
now.
have
Yeah,
no idea.
yeah.
But
Honda
I also
powered.
found out that apparently Red Bull has its own motorsports, and they make their own motors, but they use Honda's people to like design them or whatever.
for maybe just for F1, even maybe.
yeah,
certain
yeah, yeah,
things,
yeah,
yeah.
For F1, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what Buddy was saying. One of my buddies watches F1. He works at the racetrack as well. He's like the guy in the tower and shit.
At Cowboy.
And he was saying whatever I just said.
Yeah.
What did I just say? Oh
That
he
Red
was
Bull
saying-
makes
he
their
says-
own
yeah.
engines.
Yeah, he was
You know what
saying
Red Bull also does?
what?
It gives you wings.
Yeah. That was covered.
Shit, I felt
I
right.
just got
They're-
paid $50 for that.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
the other
yeah.
day, yeah.
They're going to be powered by Ford though, starting in either next year or 2026. I know
Jesus,
that's
we
a
are
few
living in
years
the
off,
Twilight
but-
Zone. We
Cosworth.
are in the
Yeah,
Twilight
crazy,
Zone.
eh?
Oh my goodness.
But Red Bull's American, so to have an American
God.
engine,
Okay.
I
Oh, just
think-
Red Bull specifically is going to go to Ford.
Yeah.
yeah.
Ford isn't. They play in the F1 realm.
Cosworth.
No, never.
Big Cosworth, probably.
Never. I
probably-
don't think Ford's ever been.
It'd
in.
probably be Cosworth.
Oh right, yeah, you were saying that.
Be what? Sorry.
Cosworth.
What's that mean?
Just the name of the engine at the time that it would have been.
This is a learning moment, man.
in
Cosworth.
Because there's been a lot of engine suppliers like Toyota, Lamborghini, BMW. They've all
Cosworth.
been come and gone.
So Cosworth is a company that makes motors and stuff.
Okay.
Cosworth is a British automotive engineering company founded in London in 1958, specializing in high-performance internal combustion engines. But the thing is Ford owns it or owned it.
Like that was back in the Land Rover
sold
days
it-
or
sorry,
something?
actually, they sold it in 2004. But point is so back in the day, and say like the late 80s, they had a Ford Escort.
Yep.
That was like a rally car.
Yep.
It had a Cosworth engine in it.
Okay.
I think it was a 2-liter turbo or something. And then there was this one was only in Europe. It was called I think it was called a Merker something or other, but it had the same motor. Then there was the Escort RS 2000, I think, was also only in UK, maybe. Correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not sure.
I'm
But
gonna look it up. Cosworth.
yeah, Cosworth. But it had a 2-liter turbo in it as well. But then they had a Cosworth V8 that was a low displacement. And
All in Europe.
and yes, yeah.
That's not. Yeah.
But when Ford, when they're talking about, I believe when they're talking about Ford being an F1, it would probably be a Cosworth thing.
It was in. I think it was in Indy.
Cosworth?
Yeah, Ford Cosworth Indy V8 engine,
Okay.
and then
But I do know that Ford and Cosworth are in cahoots
yeah,
in some way.
definitely.
They're in bed with each other.
I've never heard of it before.
That's crazy. I'm surprised. So sometimes there would be like I'm pretty sure like you might be able to get the odd vehicle here that had the Cosworth engine, but it would be like that Escort or something, or like a specific like one, and so it would be like
Right.
the Ford Escort fucking Cosworth or whatever, you know, like
Right.
it was always like a thing, like
I don't
But
think that was
yeah.
a thing here.
no.
No.
But like I said, you might be able to get. Let's see.
They typically rebranded it with their own like SVT, Special Vehicle Team, or ST now I think it is.
SVT.
And then
What,
there's
what
like
was it
tuners
called?
like
What was it called?
Roush, SVT,
Well, no, what did it stand for?
Special Vehicle Team I think.
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah. But did you ever see the SVT Taurus
Yeah,
with the?
SHO Taurus with the Yamaha.
Oh,
motor.
S8. Yeah. Was it a Yamaha motor?
Yamaha motor, yeah.
Yamaha.
Did you know that the head?
I think it was a V6, not an inline six though.
It was a V6. Yeah.
They're
back,
cool cars.
Back to the supermotor, the 2JZ. The head on the 2JZ motor was designed by Yamaha.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and also they helped them design the 1UZ, which is a V8 that they put in like some of the Lexuses and shit in the mid 90s and stuff.
Yeah.
Which they spent like $30 million on designing. But also another thing is the the New Edge Mustangs.
No.
It's like the early 2000 Mustangs.
Okay.
They made a Mach 1 in 2003 or 2004,
Yeah.
I think, and that.
Wasn't it just a supercharged?
No, it was just a 4.6 liter.
Okay.
V8 dual overhead cam. My
It wasn't
old
even
boss had one.
supercharged.
No, my old boss had one. And shit, I lost my train of thought though. Fuck.
Mach 1 Mustang, your old boss.
Yeah, no, the
Cosworth engine.
Cosworth engine.
SVT.
Oh, SVT.
So good with running it back.
Yeah, for sure.
He's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, when he asked us, we're like, duh.
Yeah,
I don't remember,
like-
man. What were you saying?
Shit, I lost it though. Oh, we were talking about the SVT, the
Yeah.
SHO.
I mean, he
SHO.
said it. Yeah.
the-
Someone made the head for Yamaha. Made
Okay,
the
thank
head
you. Yeah,
for-
so okay, perfect. Yeah, so Yamaha also designed the.
It's my story now.
Yeah.
Yeah, really, yeah.
It's like $10 right now.
But so shit, we're losing it. So Yamaha helped design part of I think the head in the 4.6 liter that was in that Mach 1, but they also, the music department in Yamaha tuned the exhaust.
Okay.
Yeah, so they like made it to a certain
Like a certain note or whatever.
So they made that. So then, like, I guess however they bent it and did whatever, shortened it or whatever, did certain things, and they made it sound a certain way. So like Yamaha's like in the motorsports world, like insane. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy how much they do.
Yeah.
made
there's-
So I didn't know they were in
too.
the Ford thing too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they make speakers. Speaking of speakers, though.
Yeah, they're getting out of the snowmobile business as
Yeah.
well.
Really?
Yeah, they
Are they?
exited the market. Yeah, so they produce
Crazy.
the motors for Articat with snowmobile engines,
What?
and then Articat was producing the chassis, but I guess through COVID and all that kind of crap, that they announced this a few months ago that they're no longer going to produce snowmobiles. And
What? That's weird.
Damn.
But they're still making the motors.
I would imagine, I imagine they'll just be like a tier 1 supplier to Articat and just sell
Right.
motors and not have to fucking
Right.
deal with pissed off customers.
Yeah, I was
'cause
gonna say that's probably
they can't
easier.
build a
Yeah.
sled, you know.
Probably easier, man. Fuck.
Yeah.
Shit, man. Actually,
Yeah.
what do you think of the new Supra?
I don't mind it. My kid, we've seen a couple or whatever. it has like this Miata-esque body line to me that
Yeah,
I just
it
have a
does.
really hard time getting over.
Just
Yeah.
a bigger one, I
Yeah,
guess, right?
and
Almost
like
like an RX-8 in a
that,
way.
yeah, the newer Miata that come out, like it's like honestly, like if for the money, I'd probably buy the fucking Miata. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
they look
yeah.
that close.
Shit. I find it still has like that old super look, kind of like, you know what I mean? Like
I
not
don't-
really, but
Maybe,
like it
like,
has
the
just
front
because
end a
just
bit.
because it's a little longer in the front, it's kind of short in the back, like whatever. Not that it looks like it; it just has that same shape. But I'm not a fan of the BMW engine. Like cool, but like
Why?
just bring
Yeah,
back the
why,
2JZ,
yeah.
man.
Why?
Makes no sense.
Why don't I like it, or
Toyota
why
too,
put it in
like-
there?
Yeah, why put it in there? Why
Yeah.
not use your own motor? It's supposed to be
Yeah.
your flagship performance car or whatever.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Well,
I
and like
don't-
they did the same thing with that GT86, the FRS, and the BRZ.
yeah,
it's
yeah,
like-
that's a
It's a
Subaru.
Subaru
Yeah.
motor, and what they did was they made.
But that's a
deal.
platform shared car. Is the new Super platform shared with
No.
BMW?
No.
You know, it probably is. I bet you it's like a fucking Z4
Oh, maybe. Yeah.
on steroids or I don't
Yeah,
even
yeah.
know their nomenclature or their models anymore. But like, I'm sure there's some sort of hatchback 4 Series. You know, like M4
Right.
4 Series hatchback. You know what?
Yeah.
I guarantee dollars to donuts. If their motor's in it, then there's more to there'd be a platform shared that they're
Must
probably
be
using.
something. Well, yeah,
Based on my guess, I'd have to say it would be.
it just seems weird. Like you said, it's their fucking flagship car.
Yeah,
then-
why wouldn't you show like your engine building capabilities and then
Yeah.
like bring the turbo stuff and what that like market really wants? But
I don't know. I know Toyota's in NASCAR, but
Yeah.
they run the
Toyota Camry, baby.
Camry, yeah. I was gonna say
Camry,
Toyota,
yeah,
the
yeah,
Camry.
yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know. I used to watch NASCAR, but I don't really like. I kind of do, but it's changed a lot.
yeah,
Changed a lot.
Bubba Wallace, #1, man.
I'm not a big Japanese car guy.
No?
Nah, I don't know if I can say that on the radio or not, but
Yeah.
I don't like.
You American or you're like more European?
I like people that don't just copy shit and like make it like fail proof.
Yeah, right. It seems
like
like
it's
almost
their-
everything.
What do you mean by that?
I don't know. It's just
Yeah.
like there's
Saying
no.
Japanese people did that?
Yeah, they do.
No, they
That's-
didn't.
you
They
wanna
have the
bet?
most.
Do you know
out
much
of-
about the Japanese economy and how they're like after Hiroshima and who set it all up?
Yeah, but why?
It was Americans, man. It's Americanized and quality control stuff. And Frank,
Right.
look
Yeah,
at Frank
yeah.
Denning.
They're using turbos.
I know, but it's
We're not.
It's just
it's
send me
just
on a
copy
whole other
shit.
path.
They
right
can make
now.
stuff cool and awesome, but there's no passion in the car.
Right.
That's what I
What?
see. I don't know, man. You
I
tell
feel
me.
like it's because we're
Japanese
in a,
culture
in a
in general is very like
yeah,
strict and like
Well, they have-
rigorous
they
and,
yeah,
like,
it's like minimalist type
like-
of
they
stuff.
have
and-
their fucking
Okay, all right.
cars,
Wait,
you know.
all
they're-
right.
Like the best way I
No,
can
I feel
describe
you,
it.
though.
The
No,
best
wait.
way I can describe it. Okay, and this again, it's their cars are like vanilla.
Been there, done that.
Okay, and
They're
that's
like
what I was
vanilla.
gonna say.
Yeah,
Like, if
yeah.
I picture like several cars that I can think of that people like and they drift and stuff like that, they're not the craziest looking cars unless it's an R34 or like GTR or something. You know
No,
what I mean?
I'm not saying they
But
didn't have
other
any
than that-
good ideas.
No,
I'm
I
not
know,
saying
but
that. They
no,
got a
but
lot of good ideas.
But what I'm saying is like when you go to a drifting, like a lot of the cars, like you get like a Toyota Chaser, that's a car that people love to drift, right? But if
Yeah,
you
yeah.
see it just the way that it comes, you're like, it's just a fucking 4-door like drama car, you know what I mean?
100%.
But they do it all up and they fucking make it whatever. But so what I'm saying is that I see that and go, oh, look, that car's fucking sick. It's like, no, when you see it stock, it's just a fucking, like you said, it's a vanilla. So I get
Yeah.
what you're saying. I feel you in that sense.
in the just in what it is alone, like the automotive industry alone, is that was like the industrial revolution in North America.
Yeah.
So for another country, whether it be Japan or anywhere else these things are manufactured, China, now you see that the heart and soul of development isn't there. They're just producing a product for the market. You know,
Yeah,
it's not that
for sure.
it's not
Their
these
heart
the
and
Wright
souls
brothers
are-
and planes, man, and you know what I
Yeah,
mean. Like
yeah.
there's none of that there. They're just reproducing something they're copying something that already existed to produce a product for the market. That passion isn't there.
I think.
Oh,
Well, I don't.
In my
ca-
opinion,
call,
man,
call
in
me.
my
You can say
opinion.
I'm wrong, but I feel like
You see it
their
in
focus
areas.
is on the race cars, like the cars that are, you know, high performance, and all of those other cars are like not, you know what I mean?
No, they're like every other
dumbed
car
down
company.
of-
They have
yeah.
like a couple
And mass-produced.
historic artifacts that everybody wants. You know,
Yeah.
there's the 300ZXs and the Supras and the
But
Buick
that goes with
GNXs.
anything.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It goes with everything.
the Buick GNXs and like the Mustangs,
yeah.
all the different special, like a Boss and all this
Yeah.
sort of crap. Like they have those ones out there, but in my opinion, like I said, you could. That's why I just saying they're vanilla. They lack that. This is how it was founded type of thing.
Right. Yeah.
It's not there with that product, in my opinion. Superbike and shit like that. Yeah, I see it. You see the
Hayabusa.
They have their. I wouldn't. I don't want an American superbike because that's not what they do. It's not what we do. I had this conversation with actually my wife today about trucks and Nissan trucks. Like, who would buy a truck? A Nissan truck. And I said, I don't know. Like, I know people that own them and stuff like that. And like, I kind of like it, but it's
the Titan.
So when I think of trucks,
you don't see them around.
They're cool and they're great. And like, I'm not knocking anybody that likes them. Everybody likes their own shit.
Yeah.
But to me, trucks is like North American thing, like sports car, German car, German engineering. For me, that's trucks, Like,
yeah.
I
would drive a Tundra though. I would drive a Tundra though.
But what is a truck, man? What is a truck? That's what
I know.
You gotta figure out.
I agree with you. So I think a Chevy or like, you know what I mean, like, but like
half ton.
And they're all going the same way.
But I would drive a Tundra.
But I have a truck that's just a beast on fuel. It's a 6-liter bulletproof drivetrain. And this is the conversation I had. I drove a brand new Ford today.
Is that the black
10-speed. The black truck, mine, but I drove it was a white Ford. It's a 10-speed. You see the things go all the way up.
Yeah.
And my gas guzzling like truck, what a truck is supposed to be, North American made, lots of slop and gaps and whatnot.
Yeah.
I can bang that thing across the field, at 50, 60 clicks and bang the crap out of it.
Yeah.
Is your fancy 10-speed transmission made to do that with your hybrid setup on your nice F-150? I don't know.
Yeah.
But to me, that's what a truck is still a piece of machinery, whereas I
know
never.
what you're saying.
Yeah, I feel you.
I definitely,
But like, yep. But I mean, like,
so
trucks
to me is like
handle it, man.
Yeah, but I mean, at the same time,
the Italians got the supercars. They got the Ferrari. They got the Lamborghini.
They got
the
Maserati.
Alfa
Romeo.
So then the Germans got the street sport. Okay, they got the Mercedes. They got the Porsche. They got the fucking what else they got? BMW. Yeah, all kinds of crap.
Yeah.
And all we got is dumb hillbillies in the sticks. Is these fucking loosey goosey pickup trucks, man.
For sure.
Shit. No, that's true though. I see more burnouts in pickup trucks than anything, I think.
But one thing I see in a lot of products and stuff out there, and as you get older, you see this more. There's culture in some of these things. And some people don't like culture. They don't like to talk about it, and they say, "Oh, that's icky," but that culture is important. That's sort of what built and developed that. And I don't know. Sometimes it's too easy to lose sight of that. And that's what I see versus the Japanese cars.
But Japanese cars have its own culture, right?
But they don't because it's not. It's a copied culture, though.
Yeah,
eventually, like I see this like the Japanese and like
it's all copied. You know what I mean?
No, have you seen these like souped up crazy like it's a thing in more I think maybe China and Japan where they put all the crazy spoilers and lights and stuff on the car.
and they're slammed to the ground.
Yeah,
sometimes what they'll do is
that's the culture.
They'll push the car down and they'll weld the fucking Oh, come on here. The
rotator split?
No, yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I'm going for. No, like the fucking that was a bad gesture. But what do you call it? The fucking not the shock, but the fucking
you push the car down and weld the springs?
Good on that,
not the spring, but the
what are you trying to hold the car down?
The fucking strut.
Weld the struts.
They fucking push it down, weld the strut. They take the coils right off of it. Push it down, weld the strut, so the car is like scraping off the ground. And then they put, like you said, they put spoilers and lights and shit, and then they'll take the exhaust and put it up.
There's
like
a name for it.
Tractor.
It's it's not Kama Sutra. That's a Chinese sex book, but it's something similar to that, man. It's like.
Can I make a phone call?
You look it up, man. Just look it up on the internet, right? Like awesome.
I'm making a phone
street racing, wicked looking spoiler cars from China, and you'll get what that's called.
Phone a friend.
Hey, just so you know, anyone watching this, the camera adds 50 pounds.
I've heard that. Oh, shit.
Is there any people watching this out there? Anyone got any questions that they want to hear a bunch of bullshit about?
Yeah, hit us.
We do. We got a number one fan that's been hitting us up in the comments. Nothing about what we're talking about, but
what is the number one fan talking about?
He wants back on. He wants back on the show one time.
Oh yeah, can he call in? Can we do that? We have those
probably not right now, but it's all love for sure.
Afi. Shout out Afi. Okay,
yeah, Afi's
he's gonna tell us. This guy's
homie.
gonna tell us. Yeah, I swear he's got a shirt that says it.
All right.
Hello?
Oh yeah. There's legit a word for it. Like it's a thing.
Me and him always.
And
talk
it's not
about it.
bukkake either. I know
No,
that.
yeah.
I know that. But it's something like that. It's halfway in between those two.
All right. Well, he's not answering.
Shit.
Leave a message and see if, at least when he gets a message, he'll know what he needs to do.
Go to exactly 44 minutes and 50 seconds. Of the podcast.
Yeah. And then
And
make
watch.
a comment somewhere to let everyone know what the fuck we're talking about.
Here it's called Bosozoku. I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's Bosozoku. Bosozoku.
I don't think that's it.
Man, look.
That sounds pretty similar to what you were describing, though.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you're right. It is. Let me see the word. No, that's not it.
Man, calm down.
No, let me see that stuff. Here, I got a thing here. I
Look
got
at-
one of
see?
these Google machines.
Bosozoku or something? Man, there's another one that starts with an F. He has.
Yeah.
That's
That's
it.
the one, man. Fukozami or something here. How do we do this?
Fugazi. No, I don't know, man. There's called something, that's for sure. I wish he would have answered his fucking phone. I swear to God, he has a T-shirt that says it. It's the one that the T-shirt he has though. It's the word with the F, not the B, not the bukkake.
Yeah, I'm not coming fucking up with much here.
Oh, you know.
We have a shout out from Levy in the comments.
Levi?
Oh yeah,
Levi,
yeah.
Levi.
that's right.
That's my kid there. What are you
Nice.
saying, buddy boy?
He said you're a legend.
Thanks, man. Thanks. He's a legend too. He can be the next guest. He just he can't handle all the smoke. He has a bit of asthma. No, I'm just kidding. He's only 12.
Oh shit.
Yeah, we could get them both on here.
Yeah.
Do a PG episode.
Yeah, I actually thought about bringing my son for his birthday last year,
Oh yeah.
and then
It's
But
gonna get to a
things change.
point where it's gonna be like that, man. Like our kids are only getting older, you know.
Yeah.
Like even your
Yeah, that'd be
kid,
so dope actually to have
he's
your
gonna
son
be
on
up
here.
there
like-
being like, "What are they doing?"
It is. It's interesting
Yeah.
to listen to them and like my son, the shit that the
I
way he
love it.
sees the world and stuff like that
Yeah.
is much different than the way you see the world.
Yeah,
It's hard
for
to
sure.
sometimes slow down and take the time to listen to them and actually get,
Yeah.
kind of see it from their perspective.
What do you? Well, just going off on that. Like, what do you think of like the school system and like how it like shaped them? Like, what do you think of all that? Because I'm about to get into that, and I'm a little bit, you know.
So I think is just like the best thing you can do is tell your kids what you think is good,
Yeah.
but also tell them that they can decide on other things,
Right.
but to try to understand everything before they decide.
Yeah. Not that there's one side.
Yeah,
To
you
what you're
know,
being
like
told.
there's like kids. Our kids have been great in a lot of ways, but there's a lot coming at kids nowadays. Like they're
For
almost
sure.
confusing the kids and
Yeah.
shit.
That's where I'm at.
But it's one of those things. I don't know. You can look at it so many ways, but at the end of the day, I love my kids more than anything. If you want to be a boy or a girl or whatever, giver, you know.
Yeah.
But I just don't think that maybe they don't want to do that. But I hope. But if they do, I would still support them. But
Yeah.
I feel bad for them because they're pressured now to try to fit this in their atmosphere.
Yeah.
And it's
For
things
sure.
that, yeah, like kids, like you shouldn't have to like worry about this stuff. And now
Yeah.
it's like now they've got to tiptoe and be politically correct
Yeah,
and stuff around
yeah.
these sort of issues. And
It's all normal that
Well,
to them, right?
right?
So it's
And it's
almost
like-
like they come home and try and push it on you, and you know.
I
and-
feel like it's one of these things in the world that, you know, I know some people who seem to be affected by this and legitimately, you know, you've got to, I believe them, you know, like,
yeah.
but at the end of the day, it's a preference, right? And the people who I know that seem to like, you know, that this is a thing to them and it's real in their lives, they don't want to push that preference on everyone else.
Yeah.
And I think in any environment when a system or whatever starts to force these preferences on you in an environment that's supposed to be sort of free and liberal,
Yeah.
that's such a wrong word for that. Actually,
Yeah.
they got to redefine that word.
Yeah.
But yeah, when there's an environment like that right away, where there's this pressure to focus on certain preferences over others.
Yeah.
Right away, it's sort of discriminatory in the opposite sense of what they started out to be. And
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
my kids deal with it well. Try to talk to your kids. I hope
Yeah.
that Levi's listen to this, and Macy, that you. I don't know, try to make an environment where your kids come to you and talk to you about
That's
their
what
problems.
I'm about, man.
and-
And that's it, right? Your kids have got to be like, because there's going to be all kinds of outside
Yeah,
influences, right?
yeah.
Coming from
Yeah.
a million different directions, from the internet, teachers, friends,
Yeah.
movies, like everything, video
Yeah.
games.
It's
like,
a
there's just
different world.
influences
Like,
coming at
yeah,
you. So
yeah.
you have to be that individual in your kid's life that they're able
They
to
feel comfortable to
come to you with
That's
any
like my
problem that
ultimate
they have, or like
wish,
any
dream,
question, like,
hope.
oh,
I
I'm
agree,
confused about
yeah,
this, or I
yeah.
want. They have to be able to come to you,
And that's
right?
hard.
And you
at
have to let them
times.
know that.
Yeah, but it's hard at times. Like, I struggle with that because like you get impatient, and then you get mad, and then you react, and they obviously, as a kid, they're looking from their optics. Like, what
Yeah.
does that reaction look like? You got this big stinking fucking hairy man
Yeah.
yelling and spitting, and,
yeah.
and stuff. So it sounds easy, but it is harder than you think at times
For sure.
to do that. But if you spend time with your kids, that's the number one thing. I worked with this guy. He's a smart guy, and he went through a lot of shit. He had like a couple grown kids that didn't talk to him and shit, and he kind of had his second family
Okay.
with like a younger kid or whatever, and he going through his divorce courts and all this stuff. And he said that his lawyer at that point, or someone's lawyer, said to him, he says, like, kids spell love differently. And he's like, well, what do you mean by that? He's like, they spell the word love differently. He's like, well, how do kids spell love? And they spell love time. Spend the time with them, right?
Yeah.
And
That's everything.
that's all you can do, and,
Yeah.
and hope for the best, and
Yeah.
hope that the time you spend with them gives them the impression that they need to be successful in the world. And
Yeah.
just make sure that your levels of success are realistic for your kids, and just hope that they're able to support themselves and be happy more than anything.
Yeah. No, that's absolutely.
But as far as the
amazing.
school system, it sucks, man.
Yeah.
It's broken.
I digress.
It's broken, man.
It's totally broken,
yeah,
for sure.
it's
No doubt.
Like you said earlier, there was the dreaded L word, and
it's
everything's become very liberal, right? Like everything
Yeah.
is like very liberal dominated.
Yeah,
And like, not to say that's a bad thing, but
I can
like,
get
it
behind
does,
liberal
sure,
types of
there's like
thinking
liberal
in
ideas,
certain
I
arenas
get
and
it,
stuff,
right?
for sure. Yeah.
Progressive. Let's think about new ways of doing stuff.
Evolution to some degree, there's some
Sure.
there's flexibility. Yeah,
But
I get it.
there's there's certain people that take this to extremes, and I think the school systems fall victim to this
Well,
quite
yeah,
often,
'cause-
right?
yeah.
Because there's teachers are becoming younger and younger and younger, right? Like
for
in-
sure. I've
So I
noticed
think
that.
their like impression, like,
They make changes.
they get into that position where like they're
Yeah.
like, oh, I've got to
They
like
should be doing this.
mold these kids,
Yeah.
and like they push their ideas on these kids or
Right.
whatever. And yeah, definitely,
That's
I
it.
think there's sort
Just
of
a new age of
a
it.
demonstrable line of liberal thinking, like when there's a certain age, right? So like the younger generation tend to be more liberal thinking. They're idealistic. They want
For
to change
sure,
the
yeah,
world.
like
they're
me
like,
much more than my parents.
yeah, exactly, right? Like, they hate this, like
Yeah.
the old way of doing
Yeah.
things. I want to rip it all up and do it all over,
Right.
And then as you get older, you start to sway to a more conservative sort of like, okay, I'm comfortable.
Right.
I want to conserve my financial wealth, my
Yeah.
well-being, and like let's
Yeah.
start to think monetarily and
right.
policy and
Not
yada
move
yada
so
yada.
fast.
So yeah, I think there's definitely an easy line to draw when it comes to young, impressionable minds in the school system being
Yeah.
swayed to these crazy. Well, I shouldn't use the word crazy. I think they're, let's
Yeah,
say,
yeah.
a little bit
Extreme,
extreme.
right.
These
Yeah.
lefty sort of crazy.
It's one of these things
Ideas.
where it's easy for everyone. Like, I'm not even willing to be scared to tiptoe around it. It's one of these things where I don't even care what you think you want to be. But do we really need to be spending our academic resources on like really pushing this stuff versus just like, again, I'm just quoting things that, you know, you read through pop culture or whatnot, but I'm almost convinced there's a lot of like European and like Norwegian or Scandinavian countries where they sort of have this shit kind of like figured out. And it's not really like a problem, you know what I mean? But I could be wrong on that. But like, where like people are just people and you don't really need to like point this shit out.
Yeah.
Like other than like there's a certain like sports, that's a sensitive, that's a hot spot.
That's
you know, but like, but honestly, like, okay, like really guys and ex guys, you know, like everyone else is fucking, I get it, but like I don't know, in that case you feel bad for girls and for everything they've worked for. And I see it like it is definitely an advantage to be a boy in this world. You know, just think about like going out and getting drunk, like how you're viewed or whatever, like as a girl or versus a boy and all that sort of stuff. So like to have that sort of stripped away and like a guy to, I wouldn't be impressed either. So it's awful. I don't think there's a lot of support there from anyone other than people sort of that need help in understanding what they are or who they want to be. But I don't think that they need to like present that to kids in the environment they do in school.
So I think like
just let kids know there's a safe space, you know what I mean?
Sure.
But I think part of the problem might be parents, you know, where parents want to like are mad at their kids and kids like show like an example. My son, and he may be embarrassed or whatever, but like wear a dress or whatever as a kid, like just a little boy, or you know, like the color pink, like there's parents who would be like, oh, don't do that, that's that, you know, that's that fag shit or whatever. And it's like, seriously, like really, this like it's you really think if the kid wants to be, the kids are going to be what they want to be. And the more, you know, you can't force them to be something they're not.
That's the line, right? So like gender norms and like things that are like, so we've constructed that, right? Blue is for boys, pink is for girls.
For sure,
That shit's all made up. That shit's dumb, right?
100%.
Like, so yeah, if your boy wants to play with pink dolls or whatever, then who fucking cares? That doesn't mean that they're gay or they're gonna be this or that. Like, it doesn't matter. But this idea that a man can become a woman or a woman can become a man. A man can have babies or have a period, or any of these ideas that just like fuck with biology at its fundamental
I think you just hit
level.
The nail on the head.
That's where I draw the line. Like that shit's fucking wrong, and you should not teach that to kids.
Hey, let's not say it's wrong, okay? Let's
it's
stay on
wrong.
The right side.
So I will openly speak about this because I literally, my ex-brother is now my sister. So I have, you know, people in my family that are trans. So now, so my brother is trans. His kid, who, you know, was my nephew and is now transitioning to be my niece. So to me, I'm like, okay, so you clearly have passed this idea onto your son.
That's it.
Right? So like this, you can't tell me that this is just a biological, like it's clearly an idea that has been passed on.
For sure.
Right?
Because
like this is something that
feelings, right? And
this kid is confused, right? Like his dad,
how old is the kid?
So the kid is like, she is, I think now 17, 18.
Okay. Wow. So like old enough to understand certain things.
Right. So, but so
when did the transition start? And
when
stuff,
the kid was in the early teens. So,
15,
exactly, right. So in that very impressionable age, right?
For sure.
So he grew up with his dad becoming his mom. Right, and then now he's gone through high school. He's been through a very troubled whatever, and now he is saying, I want to be a woman, right? I want to be a girl. Change his name, all this stuff, right?
Could it be hereditary?
Absolutely not.
I don't think so.
Not
that's not an insult or whatever.
No, I don't take it as that. I'm literally, that is my it's based to me there
what
has,
about your sister? Like how do you see that process and stuff?
I hate to say it, I think it's mental illness, man. It's mental illness. I truly believe that anyone, so it's body dysmorphia, right? There's a literal clinical term for it. It is mental illness.
Yeah.
Right.
If you believe that you are the wrong gender or the wrong sex, trapped in a wrong body, or that you don't identify, and I say, like, fuck with, like I said, gender norms. If you want to dress however you want to dress,
For sure,
go
yeah,
for it.
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
like
But
all
when
of
you
that.
want to
Express
mutilate
how
your
you
body
exactly.
to
That's
be-
where, like,
Has your sister gone to that extent?
yeah, done full transition,
Wow.
full medical, everything.
Yeah. One of the most
everything is-
alarming things I've heard about it is like the rates of suicide apparently.
Yeah.
and
are like
detransitioning, yes,
crazy.
right, exactly.
Yeah,
So
a lot
again,
now.
it's so we are playing a very
It's a touchy thing.
social experiment is going
Yeah.
on right
Yeah,
here.
yeah,
We
yeah.
are.
It's going to be curious to see how your sister and your niece, I guess, right? Like, is that's how you talk about them, and
Now, yeah.
Yeah.
Again, yeah.
how they're going to feel about this, and do you openly talk about it with them? or-
Absolutely, yeah. So
Yeah.
even with so when my brother was still my brother, and he was coming out to the family and saying this is what he wants to do, we had a very open discussion about what this was going to mean. And I literally looked him in the eye and said, do you honestly think that if you go through this surgery, you change your name, you change everything, that you're just all of a sudden going to be a new happy person, and everything's just going to be
Yeah,
okay?
right.
And he said, yeah, like I
Super excited for it.
I hate the person that I see when I look in the mirror, and I think if I am this new person, that, you know, I will give me a new start kind of thing. Excuse me.
Have you revisited that conversation since?
No, we are very estranged at this point. We don't talk very often.
Okay.
In fact, she's distanced herself from the entire family, and doesn't keep in very much contact at all.
Were you close before, you and?
Yeah, I mean, we weren't for sure. As any, brothers, usually are. We used to go play pool and fucking hang out and do whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, not since the transition. It's been it's definitely
Rocky road, yeah.
So
yeah.
like I felt like.
Yeah, hey man, I'm just curious. Like, it's hard for me to understand it.
And
too.
I'm happy
Like,
to talk about it because, again, for me, I think it is a sort of weird epidemic that's sweeping the Western world.
Well, it's a
of this
reality,
idea
whether
that
it's
is
sanity or not. It's a reality,
exactly. And I think that there is a huge influence on the young generation, and I'm scared for my son.
I guess back
going
to the,
into a
that's where
school
I'm
that
at.
is very
Yeah.
open and almost pushing
Yeah.
this idea,
Yeah.
not just like not talking about it and saying,
Yeah.
okay, if it does happen, we're not going to ridicule you or whatever, but almost encouraging
Yeah,
and
they have, like, days-
and
I
can
teaching that
see-
kind
I
of
can see
behavior.
I can see your concern for sure. And back
Because
to,
again,
like,
I just see that clearly
It's
my young nephew has been influenced,
Influenced,
yeah,
and I don't see there's
but that's
no
a
question in my
direct
mind that
influence right there. Like,
Well,
I
think
think
about it. Yeah, you'd think that's normal.
Your
what
little
you
guy-
see your mom and dad do.
the little guy I was playing with out front there, man. If you just play with your kid, and you just know your kid, spend
They'll
time with
know.
them.
Yeah.
That kid, your sister is.
Oh, there's a whole history. Like,
But-
all of them have
But they're so directly related to that influence, that the school influence, man. If you know your kid and whatnot, and spend time with them and build their self-confidence and their self-esteem
and
up,
yes,
Yeah,
that's
you're
key
right.
for sure.
Yeah.
and they're not going to want to do that stuff, I think. And then
You're right.
and then at the end of the day, if they do, you did everything you could to. Yeah.
For sure, and yeah, that you're right, absolutely.
I think the
That's
more
key. It's
attention
just
you
like-
give it, the more influence it'll have on
and
your
I think
life.
that's, like I said, there's a whole history, and I won't get into it, but
Yeah.
that is absolutely what was lacking. Especially I think in my nephew's life at a young
Case.
age, but for sure there's definitely a whole history of things that
Yeah.
led to this kind of, I think, outcome.
For sure, yeah.
Um,
Yeah, no, it's and a lot of everything. Like, people are so funny that way. Like, there's textbooks out there you can read that based on how you act and what you do, they can tell what happened to you as a kid. And these things like trauma and how people process trauma is so different. But there's so many vents and avenues. It used to just be drugs. It used to just be booze or whatever.
Yeah.
But now there's all these sort of like different venues that allow you to somehow cope with your trauma and get the space that you need to feel better, you know. And I think these things in a way, in a sort of like, I don't know, maybe like crazy way, maybe it's a good thing, you know. Otherwise these people would be like drug addicts and stuff or whatever, like trying to deal with those things, you know. It sounds fucked, but it's like, in a way, cancer's a nice thing to die from, because you get to say goodbye to everybody and whatnot, like, versus being suddenly taken like that.
Oh my God, man, that should be
that
is
one
definitely of the questions on the what would you rather.
Actually,
it's a sick, dark
I don't know,
place
man.
to go, right?
Yeah, you're right.
But it's true,
you know,
though.
what would these
Such
people
a good
be
way to put
doing?
it.
Like, you know, I had an uncle died on the street of Vancouver because of trauma, like as a kid or whatever, what he grew up seeing and all that stuff, and got hooked on drugs. And, you know, things didn't turn out well for him, right?
Yeah.
You know, and I think some of these things are influenced by that, and then this is what gives you their outlet, right? Maybe just a theory. I don't really know. I'm just trying to speak from trying to understand why people do what they do, right?
Yeah. It's almost like just another like you said, outlet, I guess. Another outlet to relieve that
space,
pressure,
right? It's a space that where you can feel good about what's going on in your whole life, right?
Yeah,
for sure.
Like that's what. But yeah, no, I don't think they should be promoting it at school.
No,
I don't like when we use resources for things that are like, I'm pretty pragmatic and logical. Like, why would I get it? Like, make a space.
Kids
but we
are
don't
smart,
need to,
right? So I think they know that, like, in an environment where you're almost praised or like said, oh, you can't talk like negative against me, or you got to treat me in a special way if I am part of this special community, right? And I'm going to have this whole force of people that will come after you if you say anything against me. You know, like, kids are smart, so they're like, oh, I want to be part of that. And they'll do anything to try to be part of that community.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, I
think
can
it's
see where
easily
you're,
be swayed to want to be.
I don't worry about
that's
that
like probably
with my
a
kids
popular
too bad,
norm,
but
you know?
maybe I should be.
Who knows, man?
My kid had his toenails painted the other day.
Talk to them about it, man. Talk to them about it. That's all you can do.
Well, my kid had his toenails painted the other day. He's like putting on socks. I'm like, your toenails painted? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, did you do that? And he's like, no. He's like his little sister and like her friend did it. I was like, all right, cool. Because like, man, I was like 16. I had girls paint my nails and shit. You know what I mean?
My favorite.
So like, I'm like, okay, cool, whatever, right? But I'm like, you didn't clean it off. He's like, oh, they just did it last night. I'm like, okay, cool, man. Like, yeah.
But that's the kind of shit I'm talking about. Is like painting the nails. Like, who cares? Right? Why does that have to be specifically for?
Yeah, it doesn't.
You know what I mean?
Oh,
like,
for sure, yeah. I wasn't
like,
even giving him shit either. It's just I was like, yo, like, did you do that? It was also kind of like a fucking weird color. Then he showed me in the car. He goes, yeah, he's like, and they painted my fingernails too. You know, like sparkles and shit. I'm like, cool. I'm like, at least it's not like, you know, like pink or some shit, whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm like, yeah. I'm like, I used to sit with the girls and let them paint my shit too. Like, it's cool, whatever.
He has a son, and one of my favorite things to do with my daughter. Do you have a daughter?
I have a daughter and a son.
So
my daughter's 4 and my son
so
is 1 in a few months.
Yeah, so I got a 12 and a 10, right? So my daughter's 10, and this is she hasn't done this for a while because maybe I'm becoming a little bit transphobic with what's going on out there. Every time I open the newspaper, whatever, but she'd paint my fingernails, or my toenails, and
you know, it's funny we're talking about it. I came home today, first day she painted her fingernails, and my wife, she runs a daycare, right? So the other little girl painted her nails, and my son wanted his nails painted, and she didn't paint his nails. I don't know, whatever. And she asked me about it when I came home, and I'll be honest, I was like, you know, I was like, I don't know.
Man, if it was me,
you know,
I wouldn't care. Honestly,
did he want them painted?
You're right. He really wants them painted.
Should paint them.
Yeah, I'm
Go
like,
for it. Yeah.
Paint them. You know what?
Like,
I think
feel
you're more
bad
likely
saying that, but like honestly, I was thinking about it. I'm like, you know what? It doesn't mean anything because I'm so like, she's about to go into school, so I've been conscious about what's going on and what, you know,
the
like,
bigger deal you make about it,
yeah,
the bigger deal the kid will make about it,
for
right?
sure.
So
I'm big on
my
that,
mom,
so
like,
I understand. Yeah.
as a kid, used to own a beauty salon. Like, she was a hairdresser, beauty salon. She did the whole thing, right? So she would always fucking have like stacks of nail polish and all kinds of things. So as a kid, she had 3 boys, right? Myself being the youngest. I have 2 older brothers. The middle one is the one that transitioned into my sister, and I have an older brother. And again, as a kid, I would get my nails painted all the fucking time. All the time. She would just fucking like try different colors on each finger. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I just loved it. I would sit there and be like, yay, this is great. You know what I mean? I didn't know any different. It didn't mean, it meant nothing. You know what I mean? It was just a fun thing to do, right?
Yeah.
You're the one that's projecting
exactly. It's
that
your perspective.
idea onto it.
Yeah.
Now, one thing I will say about that is the one thing you want to be, and I could see maybe possibly forming some of your brother's interest in this, is as a kid when you're like sort of like learning what is like to get your attention or whatnot. If you painted your nails and then everyone made a big fuss about it, then you'd be like, oh, look at, oh, that's the greatest thing. So then you might seek that out, and then it would sort of curb your interest in that you would seek that out
it
later.
Made you like liked in school.
And I think that might influence children to some degree. I'm not saying I don't think that's why you're.
I mean, who knows, right? Who knows? I don't know.
No, I'm not. But then it becomes the positive memories when the kids, the trauma or whatever might is going on in your mind. The positive memories are surrounded by these things, so then that you associate these things with yourself, and you start to reconstruct your own character of the things that make you feel good or made you I don't know. It's a fucking complicated thing, man.
Humans are definitely a complicated thing.
Attention is a big thing too, though. Attention's a big thing, right? Like
our egos and all that sort of stuff, and like how we're formed
as humans. We're very egotistical. No matter who you are, humans are very selfish in a way. We all run off of what we want. It's just about
us, right? About you.
It's all kind of about us.
You're in your own head, and you think nothing else matters or exists, right? Like,
well, again, it's all about perspective as well, and what you make.
You hear me talking over you guys all the time?
It's been great. I told you this podcast would run itself. Fucking right, man.
I might have to take a bathroom break soon. How long does this go for? We're here all night.
Well, we could do a bathroom break and then do the lightning round.
Got any more fans, or what? Is the lightning round questions from the fans, or what do we? What do we got? We got any more comments?
We could. So if you do a bathroom break, anyone that's listening right now, if you have any questions, go ahead and post them in the comments. And then we can do the lightning round.
How do they? What's their trans opinions and stuff like that?
None of them.
This guy, give the dude the lightning round.
That's a hot topic. I'm sure that the followers want to buzz in on that one.
Afi said mental health problems, so he was going along with. Obviously, very quick and
he agrees with what I said.
Exactly.
Yeah, I would think like if I wanted like to be a chicken or chicken legs or a robot arm and like cut my own arm off and fucking try to.
And there's people out there that do that, and there's a clinical thing for it, right? There's people that want to be blind and they blind themselves.
You know what it is?
Well, body dysmorphia.
Yeah,
right?
There's a movie called Quid Pro Quo.
Oh yeah.
And it's this guy, and he's like a journalist or some shit, and he's trying to do a story on these people that are like pretending to be handicapped or whatever.
Yeah.
So there's like even like a guy in a wheelchair where it even has like the thing up to his throat and stuff like that. And like he ends up getting mad and he like takes it off and like runs out of the room or whatever. And like, but they're all faking it, and like they're talking about getting like their vertebrae severed and shit like that, so they can actually be
really like that. Yeah.
But something you said earlier was like, like how your brother and then like and then your nephew or whatever, like Jordan Peterson says this thing about how like he's like, oh, like you have 2 kids and one of your kids is pansexual, which is like 1 in fucking 900,000 chance or whatever, and then your other kid is fucking transitioning or some shit, like whatever, right? He goes, which is another, you know what I mean, like 1 in fucking 700,000 or like whatever, right? Then he goes, but like for you to have 2 kids and your only 2 kids are in this situation, whatever, it's like 1 in fucking 890 million or some shit.
Odds are just insane.
That's insane. So clearly it's like you're putting it on.
The idea has been passed down for sure. And it's just the concept, right? So when we were that age, right, the concept of transitioning and becoming a different gender just wasn't in the social construct, right?
But like, see what I was gonna say too is
now it is
that like I knew about that shit whenever I was a kid. You know what I mean? Well, maybe not like really young, but I knew that like there was trannies and shit. You know what I mean? Like whatever.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't know.
That's what transvestites is. What they were.
But I knew that this was a thing, right? So like, but it was never like an option, or it wasn't like pushed on me or like whatever, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is like with even I think it was you saying about like the I could be in this group of people that like fucking they'll defend me if anything happens, you know, like whatever. Even based with all that mixed together, it's like you could see it's like had they not even known about it, then like they wouldn't see it, they wouldn't see that comfort or whatever, right, or that safety. and then be in that situation.
Right, because there's definitely like not everybody's like, obviously there's a certain archetype of person, like personality type, that latches on to ideas.
Yeah.
Right, and like I said, like it's a popularity movement, and they see a very huge movement of people that is placated to, basically, and they're like, oh, I'm going to latch on to that because it will benefit me, not because I actually agree with the ideas or I think that this is the way that it is, or just,
I even saw
I'm
a
just
video,
gonna jump into this movement.
Saw a video recently where it was this girl, she's got a microphone, and she's talking, and she's saying, like, she came out to her family and all this and whatever, and she wants to be known as fucking Theo or like whatever, all this stuff. But like while she's saying it, she's like crying and like whatever, and like there's a bunch of people behind her like, yeah, like it's good, like, oh, okay, yeah, and like people yelling in the crowd like, oh, Theo, and all this stuff, right? And like, but you just see that same thing, like, oh man, like, you know what I mean, like I have this acceptance here or whatever, And
that's how it was, honestly, when my brother transitioned. It was all, oh, you're so brave, it must be so hard to do this and come out to everybody, like, there was so much sympathy, and then, like, I guess there should be, if you're if you're in the closet gay and you're coming out, you would want that support, right, of your community and whatever, and I get it, but again, it was such a, I don't know, there was again, like, I feel like I lost my brother, right? Like, the brother that
like, he died.
Exactly, he's gone. Like that person is gone. Is gone. And I will never ever get that person back, right? And that's kind of a selfish. I wonder
if she would want to recognize that, or is that?
And we've talked about that.
Is that
like we've had that conversation, and
like almost mourn the loss of that.
And that's it. There was no real mourning of that person because there was no real loss of a person. You know what I mean?
That's such a tough thing, right? Like who's who's it for at that point?
Yeah.
Like but your relationship
we don't talk about that old person. That name doesn't get used anymore. That person that we see in old pictures is just not around.
Like,
and this new person that doesn't talk the same, doesn't act the same, doesn't dress the same. It's just it's a completely different person. You know what I mean? And that's why I say like we're estranged now because we don't talk. Like it's like I don't know you, and I almost don't want to get to know you because I feel like you took over my brother.
The more you get to know her, the less your brother. It's
and and again, maybe that's a selfish way of looking at it. I don't know, but this is just my experience of what it's like to have a person in your family that has gone through that transition. It's tough. You do feel like you've lost a family member. You want to be supportive, and we are supportive. When I talk to her, I say her. I use all the pronouns and call her by her name, and there's no animosity there. It's still love. You know what I mean? It's whatever. I still give her a hug when I see her. And
I
it's
think
like,
you
how's
should
going,
revisit the conversation you had before.
It's just tough, Like,
say, are you where you want to be? Or did
and I know that she's not. I know that she's not. I know. Yeah, she's like. Yeah. I know that she's not.
Yeah, it's easy for me because I'm sitting here and it's not my situation. And in my own situation, I'd probably be acting the same way as you, but. And feel very much the way, but it's going to boil down to just talking about it. You know what I mean? Like having the feelings.
But I mean, it's her journey, right? There's nothing that I can do, right? We're all grown adults at this point. Like I've got my family and my life and my whatever,
Yeah.
And
but I guess
she's
for
doing
you
her
to
thing.
have that stepping off point from your brother to that, and get a bit of closure or whatever, just to understand it and fucking move on. Like at the end of the day, you love your family, and if they want to do stuff that you don't agree with, it just gives us something to talk about at Christmas dinner, behind their back. But we love them, and we're gonna, and it's more to like help them be happy or help her be happy. And fuck, what do you do at that point? Like it seems like happiness is not possible when you start resorting to those types of things and you still don't find it, right?
Right.
Yeah, and that's it, right? Like that's, and so this is what I like. I always say that anyone that's in one of these. Minority groups has a victim card to play, right? They have like, my life is hard because I'm a woman, or because I'm black, or because I'm gay, or because I'm all of these at the same time, right?
Yeah.
I'm a straight white Canadian male.
I will say this. I got to chime in on this because I agree. I know what you're saying. I know what you're getting at. But at the end of the day, the power dynamics in situations are real. And it was really easy for me as a white educated male to say, hey, you know what, it's really easy to think these things don't exist. But I learned through COVID that it's really crazy how easy and fast people can be marginalized. Mm-hmm. And when you are marginalized like that, you feel fucking powerless. And you feel like you are crazy. And I could understand that.
For sure.
And I guess really the outcome of it all should be just like, why does anyone need to fuck with anyone about anything? And you shouldn't, whether you're a boy or a girl is irrelevant. You can't fuck with someone in that matter, regardless of what you are or what you want to be. And I think we need to get to a world that thinks more like that.
For sure. And I think
they're almost become divisive issues, It's just reasons for us to sort of get pissed off and not
it's too politicized. We're definitely more we're more tolerant. We're definitely more tolerant society of different ideas and different opinions.
For sure,
and things
we just
like
don't kind of want it pushed down.
But it's very
our throats,
politicized,
right?
where those you can't express those opinions. It's definitely getting hard to.
But I'm confident in the idea that the people who are that we think are benefiting from these messages, I don't think they want these messages shared in the way they're being shared either. I don't think that's
I don't know.
My closest experience in this is they're still alive, two friends that have transitioned, and they were both men and they changed to women.
Okay.
And I hope that I can share their story or what they shared with me.
Yeah.
But it was very interesting people to meet, and they both were manly men. Right. One was in the military. I think she was the one that the military was in the sort of in the news, that first one in the military to change over.
Oh yeah.
And the other one was a police officer, from what I understand, in Toronto, and in not really a really nice place, not in fucking one of these pretty suburbs or or
pretty hardcore
fancy areas, in the downtown area type of thing. And one has kids, and the other one was just married. But these women felt the need to do this and sort of single themselves out in environments that were not fucking forgiving and not nice, They shared a couple stories of how they were treated in certain scenarios, and even in hospitals and things like that, by staff because of their situation or how they were viewed. And it was fucking inhumane.
Right.
And, just wonderful people, and they wanted no ill will from me, you know what I mean? These were people who were just there to support me. There were services that I was offering that they wanted. And there's nothing bad about them. I say this, try to dumb it down. They're good eggs, you know what I mean? These are people who aren't going to bring any ill will, but they seem, and for them to function and be functional parts of this, they seem to need to do this stuff. And so from that experience, I really thought to myself, I'm like, fucking, who would do this? Who would put themselves through this for attention? Because that's what I typically thought it was for attention. I do think mental illness still factors into it. For sure.
It's so new that they don't know. They don't know what they're getting themselves into.
And I'm not calling these women mentally ill, but the one thing that did strike me, I asked the one lady, when did you know, or how did you know, or whatever.
Yeah.
And she said when she was 6, she said, I felt weird since that age or whatever. I didn't feel when I looked in the mirror, I didn't see myself.
Crazy.
And for her to look in the mirror, but she feels happy about it, she's in a this is a lady that there's no this was a good one, you know what I mean?
She was happy with what she done.
It seems to me, I guess it was the right thing in this case. Is the discontent really seemed to go away when the transition happened. But
and that's where
next to that, you're my next closest experience with any of this stuff, right? Everything else is just my opinion, sort of formed on what what was drilled in
and really
head.
That's my only experience too. I have a very vocal opinion of it, right? You know what I mean?
It's easy.
I don't. A lot of the time, I don't beat around the bush. I do get pretty fired up about this whole trans topic, especially when it comes to the influence of the younger generation and
for sure. We need to look at the people more than what they fuck. Is your sister gonna hurt somebody, or is your sister only gonna bring a benefit to the world?
I mean, I think she's like
is she taken away from it by
not in any
this?
no, definitely not, right? She's just a human being. She's just fucking having her human experience,
banging around the edges. You
right?
know what I mean?
We're all here having experience, right? Where it is what it is, right? And that's why I say, like, fuck with gender norms, fuck it, whatever. You want to wear a dress, go for it. Who fucking cares?
But like you said, save the children. Like, you don't need to be pushing it down kids' throats.
Exactly. We just don't need to
one way or another.
Boys don't need to be a thing where like we need to be encouraging it or talking about it or trying to teach kids at a young age. Like, oh, there's
even this
like,
religion bullshit they're teaching
like,
kids in fucking school. I don't agree with that, man. Like, I don't agree fucking choking religion down their throats.
For sure. Absolutely.
This is kids. This is like moral fucking code, values, treat people right.
That's like usually you go to a religious school specifically, though. Do you know?
Yeah, for sure. But why? Like, why allocate the resources and times to it?
No, that's true. Yeah,
it is. And then like there's certain schools and like they get better funding from like whatever and all this kind of crap, and like schools rate higher. But I just don't think it's a necessity to drill it into kids' heads. I think if we made the kids intelligent, then they would sort of be able to go and seek out these things on their own and make intelligent choices towards what they believe.
And I see and I think that's a key to it, right? Is making the kids intelligent. I think that our society has sort of become so entrenched in entertainment and distraction that we've lost this focus on intelligence and actually really teaching kids.
We're not passing on tradition.
Like if you look, so I watched this video of like from the 50s even, and it was a young Indian girl who had
East India.
I don't know. She was from India. I don't know where.
But that's
it was a black and white.
Black and white. That's what I mean. East Indian or like. Native.
Those are the only Indians. Natives aren't Indians.
No, I know, but
that's a lot of because Buddy was drunk and fucking thought he was in India.
Exactly.
I'm not saying that.
Anyways,
I'm just saying that
so
people say that.
She was like writing the pen pals in America, and they were asking her like, "Oh, do you like live in trees or like, you know what I mean?" And she was saying that the population of America at that time even were asking very like uneducated questions, like they didn't know what it was like to be part of the rest of the world, you know. They're very like closed-minded or whatever.
Yeah, it is. It's very and it's all about them.
And I just feel like, again, our society, the Western world specifically, we're
smarter than this. Is that what you think?
Well, I think we should be smarter.
We are.
Than this.
I think so too. I agree.
There's a lot of like again, like I went to Belize for a while, and the kids there are beautiful, man. Like they don't have like a lot of the
technology
shit that we have, right? So like they know
it's
how to
awful,
but they're like hunting. Like, you know what I mean? Like they're like real people.
Yeah, they have lives. We're just
learning
we are.
Very early, you know how to provide.
And it's just like man, there's
all
just
we are
is
an audience to
marketing.
Our kids are just an audience to marketing.
Absolutely, it is 100% that. It is 100% that, and it's sad because
it's
again
awful.
We could in this day and age when we have a multi-trillion-dollar world economy. There's no fucking reason why we couldn't all be living like the most prosperous things in the world, you know? It's just insane.
There is a reason, and the reason is from my deductions. What's that?
Capitalism.
It's not capitalism. We don't have true capitalism. We have fucking crony bullshit.
And control through motivation, and that's what. If you take the carrot away, they figure you're going to need a stick, right? So there's always this balance between the carrot and the stick. And I think that's the tough thing or whatever. But what I do believe is that there is an economy where the fundamentals of life can be guaranteed and things like that. Should we have to work for food? I don't know.
Yes.
Should we?
Yeah. Did we always have to work for food?
No,
for sure
we just had to find it.
But we had to fucking work for it, is what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Like it didn't just fucking come and packaged on a shelf. You know what I mean? We had to fucking work for it. Not saying that we all need to go back to hunter-gatherer types, you know, but I feel like there's certainly been, I don't know, we've lost something as a
but we
society,
grossly subsidize our grocery industry, right?
What do you mean?
Like dairy, farming,
right.
Like where all this stuff comes from that we typically eat. We grossly fund it, right? There's boards for everything, and there's a lot of subsidies in Canada. So then we take that after we spend all our money on that. as a government, and we put all our tax dollars into giving these farmers and whatnot their breaks and quotas and control and all this sort of shit, then we turn around and we give that shit to these fucking corporations to sell it for profit in their fucking stores back to us. Yeah. That's the problem, man.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's why I say it's no. We shouldn't need to work for food. Food should be provided in this day and age.
Yeah.
So what's your opinion on?
And we should be working for a better world.
So like
for the food.
So universal basic income. Like if we all had a universal basic income, is that something that you think would be?
No, I don't think giving people money to spend on what they want is a good idea. Give people the fundamentals of life. So if you just want to live, you can live with what you get as far as food or food.
Like a food bank.
Food bank or delivery or like a fucking, like, think of what the government wastes on fucking copy paper, let alone paying bike messengers to deliver fucking skip the dishes of, you know, you couldn't send peanut butter sandwiches, but decent food, right?
yeah, for sure.
The cost is irrelevant. The problem with these things is they don't want to solve these problems and they don't want to fix it because it's such a big industry. And when you start to like remove an industry that's created jobs and all these things and just leave it as some sort of publicly funded thing that's already operating, you lose all this, its voting potential and tax dollars. But they're spending more money on stupider shit. You could feed everyone in Canada on a fucking bike delivery or fresh meal. I guarantee with fucking the number of money they spend on 6 bombs they let off a day in Ukraine. You know what I mean? Like fucking same with like what. It's ridiculous. It's just, it's sad.
It's
really.
all fucking backwards, man.
And the universal income is, I don't like it. It's buying votes, right? I don't mind giving people, like I said, what they need to sustain themselves and housing and let people live. But to give people money for doing nothing to go and make free choice in this world, that is what working is for. That is what working is for.
And see, I'm all for that, right?
Your
like
free
you should,
choice.
and you should. Like, I'm not a religious person,
but our basic standards should be impressive. Like the shit we feed the people should be like being in the lobby at a fucking high tech company in California. You know what I mean?
So like, that's
don't give them swash and soup and Miss Hannigan's fucking
for sure. So I want to live in a society where if you have
us,
to,
not them, us, all of us,
right? Everybody.
I mean? It's
so
not
like,
them.
you have to bring something to the table, right? You have to work. You have to contribute to the whole. Right? If you want to reap the benefits of it, you fucking got to put into it, right? So you got to work, right? You got to find something to do. Fair. But we should be given a livable wage. I think we need a monetary system that isn't based on debt.
And that'll never change now. We're fucked on that. It's got to crash.
Yeah, you're right. It's got to crash before anything.
So, and that's the biggest problem, right?
Yeah.
You're 100% right. The whole model of this is selling money to us based on our ability to pay it back. How can we service what they're going to give us?
Yeah, exactly.
So, and that's it, right? That's what everything else is a symptom of that major problem, and that major problem is the way we distribute our money and how we issue it, and it's all based on
what the major problem is? It's very simple. Do you know what the most precious resource on the planet is?
Water.
Time.
Neither. Guess again.
Bull semen.
No. Closer.
What? Education.
Shit. Brain matter.
People.
Oh, I was pretty close.
Yeah.
It's us. We're the most precious resource.
We are.
And what the system has figured out is how to harvest the most from the most precious resource.
It's the Matrix.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
And
I was going to ask you earlier what you thought about the Matrix, but sorry.
I don't know, man. I don't know if we're all living in the computer. If it is, fucking give me an update, you know? Like, fucking, I got a sore rib. Like, can we patch that motherfucker and a couple, like... But that's it is. We're the most precious resource on the planet, you know, because without fucking people, time's irrelevant, water, air, it doesn't matter. No one fucking cares because we're all fucking dead and we're not here.
Yeah.
We're the most precious thing. So the people who've been around for lots of years, the smart people then with lots of money and resources figured out, well, okay, well, I can have a field full of fucking hay, you know, that it might grow and might not. And over the years, well, now we'll build cars and we can sell. Well, why don't we just fucking have people? And we'll just make all the, and that's essentially what we are. Right. We're just a labor force for the rich to get richer. And
you're right, for sure.
Yeah, because we're the most precious resource, and they figured out a way to make us chase the shit we're making to sell back to ourselves.
Race, it's the rat race.
It's fucking stupid. It's dumb.
But I saw this thing. I have all these quotes in my phone, and
all little rats.
I write down quotes, and I noticed a quote from my buddy the other day. I noticed it, and it said, "Everyone's ending is the same."
You're right. Yeah.
And I'm not sure exactly how that relates, but something you were saying there made me think of it. Just that we're all.
There was a cool one. I
want
want to say it was like Caesar.
Yeah.
And he said that in his funeral or whatever. Maybe it was. Don't quote me on who it was. It was one of these like famous, legendary like.
Caesar was killed by Crassus, I believe. But anyway,
in his funeral or whatever, was he the head of Rome?
Crassus was,
Crassus or
yeah,
Caesar?
Crassus was. Well,
So
Caesar
in his
ruled, but Crassus killed Caesar.
He had 3 wishes, and look this up. But anyways, so the first wish is that his casket was carried by all his doctors or whatever.
Yeah.
He was a general.
And he wanted to, and the point with that was that he wanted everybody to see you with all the money and all the doctors in the world, you still fucking die.
Yeah.
And there was 2 other ones, and look them up because I'll fuck them up. But it's pretty cool shit, and essentially, it's like you can't. There's never a Brinks truck following a hearse, you know, like no matter what you think you accomplish on this planet, it doesn't change a thing. We all come in the same way and we all go out the same way.
It's like you say the Brinks truck with the hearse. I saw a thing the other day that said you never see a U-Haul or never see a hearse pulling a U-Haul, and you never see the banker taking your money out and giving it to you or whatever, right? Because the money, like you know what I mean, like I'm saying the same thing you're saying, like, you know what I mean? Like, none of that shit goes with you.
Yeah,
like,
you can't.
My brother said he saw a thing.
We're all just passing through.
He saw a thing in a movie where it was like they said life is like a board game, because everything goes back in the box when it's over, you know. And like so basically like what he was saying in the movie they were talking about was like everything that you have right now is just gonna go like into a box and like it goes somewhere, like it's. You don't get to take it with you. Like, none of this stuff is, like, for us to, like, take with us, you know, whatever. But same shit is, like, yeah, like, fucking, it all goes back in the box. Yeah. You don't see the fucking, I like the Brinks truck following the hearse, though. That's a little bit. That's a little better than the U-Haul, because it sounds like you're moving.
Yeah, look up the Caesar thing. You'll like them all. There's 3 of them, and it's pretty cool shit.
Caesar.
I'm pretty sure it's Caesar's. Again, without TikTok memes, I'd be pretty much
Julius Caesar. What quotes?
Like dying wishes or like.
Oh yeah.
Is there more than one Julius Caesar?
I'm hoping it was Caesar.
No, just the one.
Just the one.
Maybe it's not him.
You too will die like this. Made the same thing.
Was he killed by Crassus? Marcus Crassus?
I'm not sure, but let me see.
One
thing at a time. One thing at a time.
Yeah.
This phrase, no.
Didn't say.
Nope.
No.
It's weird because it says elaborate on this. Yeah, it doesn't really say, but it's weird because here, whenever I read the article, it says, "Oh, what does he say before he died? Et tu, brute."
Maybe it wasn't Caesar. Let me see if I can.
It says, meaning you too, Brutus. You too, my child. And, alright. Put his toga over his head to cover his head as he D-I-E-D. What is it? Unalive?
Unalive.
That shit fucking drives me nuts, man.
Unalive. Well, it's because the algorithm, bro. You can't
fuck
say
the
it,
algorithm.
You can't say it, man.
But what's worse is how like people won't, because like before you could say the word suicide and it would automatically just like subtitle unalived.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
really,
Like it would do it automatically,
Yeah.
right? So then people started to say unalived instead of suicide.
Oh yeah.
Because they knew it would just automatically correct anyways.
Right.
So it's again, it's like this fucking forced transition of, because like who fucking cares if you say the word suicide?
Oh yeah, this is even too like it goes back to I saw
like
this,
what are you
I
like
saw
you
this
trying to protect
thing.
people of the word suicide? Like I don't understand.
I saw this cannabis thing, and it was a show about fucking weed and shit, right? But Joe Rogan's on it, and like he's talking about how like he in this clip, it's like he's kind of continuing on to like a clip from before, but he's like, so he's already kind of like heated, and he's like, yeah, he's like, so what? He's like, yeah, he's like you could like smoke a joint, get in a car and crash and kill somebody, right? He's like, but like if I'm sitting down at dinner with you, he's like, I could take a fork and I could stab you in the eye. Yeah, he's like, you're gonna make forks illegal? He's like, if you jump off a bridge, he's like, you might die. He's like, you're gonna make bridges illegal? He's like, yeah. He's like, let's just nerf the world, you know. And like, whenever he said nerf the world, I thought he meant like that was just a word, like let's fuck the world, or like let's like whatever, you know. But then like after I thought about it, I'm like, yo, I think what he's saying is like make everything safe, you know what I mean? Like,
exactly. Sponge everything.
Like,
so nobody can ever get hurt, and no one can ever have any sort of experience ever.
So whenever you're saying that, that's the thing that comes to mind. Is like, yeah, let's just nerf the world. Like, yeah, let's just baby proof it all, man. Like, oh, you don't like that word? Well, no one can say it anymore.
Yeah,
like,
that's the
now it's
stupidest
illegal
thing ever.
if they say it.
And that's the worst thing, right? Because we need to live in a society that has open dialogue, and that's how we come to some sort of fucking consensus,
right?
How we fucking get to the bottom of ideas that need to exist and don't need to exist, right? Is when you're allowed to have open
the conversation should never end, right?
Exactly.
Like,
but when you shut it down, you're like, no, you can't talk about that. And if you talk about that, you're gonna get fined or sent to jail or That's a society that I don't want any part of, and I think we should fight everything to get against that.
Welcome to 2023,
and that's it. I know, I for sure, and I'm we need to get rid of that kind of nonsense.
Yeah, the problem is it's hard to eradicate because
I think the pendulum is swinging back the other way. I think there's enough people that are getting pissed off.
Yeah, it's coming
not
back.
being able to even have any sort of opinion on something without being afraid to lose their job or being ridiculed.
You know what I believe?
Whatever, you know,
I think it's fucking bullshit, to be honest with you. I think it's urban legend. I've had numerous stories. It relates to this of like friends who work in the education system, and they're like, oh, they're putting fucking kitty litter boxes in, whatever. So you say, well, did you ever see it? No.
Oh, right. So it's and I totally agree with what you're saying.
So you say, and then I started thinking to myself, I'm like, well, fuck, think about this for 5
seconds. It's an engineered thing to keep us debating and fucking almost fighting each other. In reality, it's not happening.
It's not even happening.
It's only happening in the minds of all these people being like, "Oh, you're wrong."
My kid actually goes to school.
I think it is, man.
I almost think you're right.
Crazy.
My kid actually goes to school with a fucking cat.
Yeah, like
they don't have the fucking kitty litter shit. And when they were saying that though, the janitors were
it's a health
striking,
issue first.
But the janitors were striking at the time. But yo,
absolutely.
You can't just piss in the corner in your house, man. Like they're gonna, you have to have like plumbing.
But
and
you guys
shit,
are saying like
can't get.
You guys are saying like it didn't happen, right, or whatever, and like even too at the time the janitors were striking or whatever at one of the schools that this was happening at, or they said it was happening at. And then they said like, oh, the reason why they're striking is because of that, right? Is because they're like, no, we're not cleaning fucking kitty litter shit. But then like the janitors came out, like the people representing the janitors came out and were like, no, it has nothing to do with that. There's no fucking kitty litter shit. We're striking for some other reason, you know what I mean? So all I'm saying is just support the shit that it actually didn't happen. So it just goes to show that it is to argue about shit. And then like I heard that it was at RCI in Renfrew.
Yeah.
But then like sometime later, once I found out all this shit, like that it wasn't real and shit, someone was telling me that like they're like, no, yeah, I'm like, no, man, I'm like, I found out like the janitors came out and said no, it's not true, right? And they were like, no, this is like somewhere else, you know, like they were like, oh, my cousin lives here or whatever, you know, it was in a different town, right? I'm like, okay, sounds like they're using the same story everywhere, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's just like it's a propaganda thing, right?
That's what it is. We're being propagandized to like debate each other and fucking, it's like keep us bickering about fucking issues that don't even
about shit that doesn't matter.
And like you said, meanwhile they're spending fucking billions of dollars on bombs and shit.
But what are we gonna do? It's like the fucking battery cars, man. My carbon footprint of my entire fucking extended family and everyone my kids will ever have. Light off one of these fucking Tomahawk missiles. Like, if you know anything about energy and the combustion and the byproducts of energy, I can't drive enough miles likely for the energy that's in one of these fucking bombs they light off. How many light off in a fucking day? And I'm the problem? Like, charge yourself taxes on these. Put a carbon tax on a Tomahawk fucking missile.
Yeah.
You know, not on
but
my
we'd be paying for it then. We'd be paying for it then.
Wow, I guess.
Either way, we're paying for it. It doesn't matter, right?
Yeah. I don't get it, man. It's a fucking quite a
like
world.
You say, man, it's all fucking bass backwards.
I think at the end of the day, that what you got to watch is, and I fall victim to this often. You know, you get all fucking wired up about a topic or whatever, you get real passionate about it. All they're doing is stealing our life from us. They're just tricking us into getting all fucking worked up. Go outside,
for sure.
Enjoy the trees. Enjoy your kids. Go play something. You know, if you're not fucking mad at your kids, you shouldn't be mad at anything. You know,
for real.
No, it's true though, because even too, man, so many times, like, and like, don't get me wrong, man, like, I like to talk about shit, and like you know, like I like to, especially too, like so many times I understand more when I talk to people. I'm like, oh, I didn't know that about that thing.
Yeah, it's fun.
Okay, cool,
right?
I get it. Like, so like I do like it, but then like so many times though, I find people they're like so like angry about it, and like they're so like, oh, like they have all this like pent up anger about it. They're like, blah. And when I get in those situations, like, yo, I'm like, I don't want to talk about it, man. I'm like, I don't care, you know. And they're like, oh, and they get all mad. And like, not even that they're arguing with me. It's just that they're so worked up about it. I'm like, man, I'm like, it's not that big. Like yeah, and that upsets me too. And I wish this could happen instead, and we could talk about it. But like, you're making me feel uncomfortable.
I know exactly what you mean, and I've seen the inverse of that, or the opposite of that, is whereas like you talk to somebody like. My views tend to lean a little bit like what people would classify, which I think is like not right these days, but they would classify me maybe like conservative leaning. So if I'm talking to someone who's like maybe on like leans towards the liberal side or fucking side, so you're talking to them, they don't like get all mad and agitated. Like they reserve that for us conservatives, or conservative leaning people. I don't identify either way. Like fucking, but like if I had to, like if I was fucking gun to my head and I got to pick one today, I fucking, well, I'm guaranteed everyone would pick, it's not that fucker, but don't put gun to head and that guy in the same sentence.
Yeah, I was gonna say there would be no gun.
At my door now, man. Holy fuck, I'm going down. But I lost my train of thought there. But
well, what do you think? Should we hit the lightning round or what?
Yeah, may as well.
Well, I mean, we could get him back on train of thought.
Yeah. You were talking about being conservative leaning.
Yeah.
And you were saying that when you say that.
Oh, you were talking about the people yelling at you or getting aggravated with you or whatever. Like
not even with me. It's just that they're like so
passionate
mad.
or whatever.
Like so my brother rips on fucking Russia and shit all the time. I'm like, man, I'm like, calm down. Like, it's okay.
So I've seen the opposite. Like, so if you want to open the dialogue or you have the conversation, and like some of the topics, and I respect you guys a lot for the things that you're willing to talk about and you can talk about and you have experience with and talk about freely. But you open the topic up, or you do want to have a conversation with someone who sees it opposite you. You get that reaction of anger or whatever. Yeah. I get the other reaction where they try to incite the anger in you, where they start to like make you like they alienate you and like use these sort of like different.
Well, that's how you know that they don't actually, stand by what they believe.
That's right.
They just want to attack you and what you believe.
100%, and they don't necessarily attack you. They try to actually like. Make you look bad or demean you in this sort of subtle social pressure way. You know, and it's like, that's a fucking interesting little tactic, you sly motherfucker. I didn't even think you were that smart, but you don't even know what you're doing. You just learn from experience. But yeah, so you see both sides of that shit, right? But at the end of the day, it's about talking. Smart people want to talk about stuff. And smart people can listen to what someone says and say, you know what, I think that's fucking crazy, but I can see why you see that. You know, and I never fucking just agree with you in a million years, but, But
then you got those people with, like, you know the type, like dyed green hair, shaved on one side.
You know the type, mouth loud like a motorbike.
But then it's like let's just quantify this as a simple person. How's this hurting you? How's this affecting you? Is this real? Like, come on, like you can't fucking your fucking unicorn toy from when you were a kid can't have hurt feelings and then talking through your dreams and telling you not to do this. Like, we can't accept that as a socially acceptable answer ever. Okay?
Well, even like you said, go outside, look at the trees
somewhere, right?
You're right. People need to be responsible to some degree,
right? We can't just be like, oh, everything is just how you feel and everything is just free reign. Go for it.
Don't say that to us, man. We're the last motherfuckers that you want to say you have free reign to do whatever you want.
Okay.
Careful what you wish for.
This is how I feel, though. It's how I feel, man.
Oh, man.
Oh, shit.
Because, it goes both ways, right? Or if this is how you feel, well, guess what? This is how I feel.
What the fuck?
Accept it, right?
Fuck
around. You have to respect my
either leave me alone or let's fight.
Exactly. That's the best way I've solved any problem ever. And like, it's always been love after that, right?
Yeah.
Fight it out.
Man. Fight it out. Get it
Hug it out after.
It's all done.
I take another one of those. You know, we don't want to get too parched. What's
well
the lightning round?
Okay, so lightning round. Every question is worth double the points.
Nice, I get points.
Yeah, and
so it'll be as simple as.
And you have to keep score.
I have to keep score.
Yeah.
Fuck, guys, you got the wrong guy for that, man.
Oh shit.
It's 4-2.
It's 4-2.
So it'll be as simple as pizza or tacos.
Pizza or tacos?
Pizza or tacos.
I had pizza and tacos recently.
Well, I thought you were gonna say today.
These questions are too difficult.
Lightning round.
Am I picturing
if that's too difficult, we're lost already.
It's supposed to be fast.
Yeah.
Oh fuck! I'm gonna go tacos. For
Tacos.
Sure. Yeah.
All right.
I had the red birria tacos from the
Yeah, you had
King of
tacos
Munchies,
today.
King of Munchies,
Texas Smash House.
Yeah.
In our part, it was fucking delicious. I've been waiting for over a year to have these birria tacos, and finally I got them. Anyways, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, shout out to our prior businesses.
No, man.
You were talking about my shirt earlier. You're gonna go into.
Yeah.
Oh
that,
yeah, I was gonna go into that. I was gonna
Go
ask
into
you
it.
about your shirt.
Might
It
as well
says
right now.
Riverwood Autistics.
One size too small.
Riverwood Acoustics, though. You were telling us they
Look
make
them up.
speakers.
Yeah, local guy. Yeah, look him up. Makes
Yeah,
speakers
sounds
out of reclaimed timbers. They used to cut that and float down the river. Yeah.
Oh, it's
That's
the
awesome.
logs out of the river.
the
I thought you
river,
meant like
yeah.
driftwood and stuff. It's the logs.
Yeah, and this guy's so fucking
Oh.
clever, man. He got my sister to work for him.
That's
Yeah.
why they're.
They said they make speakers, but I think it's some kind of massage place. You know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh shit.
Shit.
Powerade or Gatorade?
Powerade.
Powerade.
Yeah. Yeah, lately, like when I was a
Someone
kid,
else
it was
had-
like the fucking Canadian ghetto version. I thought it was
Yeah.
Canadian ghetto
Yeah,
version.
that's
It was
what
like,
I do.
Where you can squirt it in your mouth.
yeah,
and
of
shit.
like Gatorade. Like I don't want that piss, and it's like all I could get is fucking Powerade, and now I'd give my left finger on my toe for a Powerade. over a Gatorade.
You remember
There you
the
go.
remember the glass bottles, the Gatorade glass bottles?
I do
What?
not,
No, I
man.
don't either.
No, me neither.
I do not either. That's crazy. Glass
Yeah.
Gatorade bottles.
Back in the day, they were glass.
Back in the day.
What?
Back in the 70s when
Yeah.
everything was glass.
Do you guys know the
I
origins
remember
of
them.
Gatorade?
I remember them when I was a kid. Like I remember them when I was a kid.
Do you know the origins of Gatorade?
I do
No,
not.
maybe.
It was developed at the University of Florida.
Oh yes, the Gators.
By the, I want to say, like the kinesiology department or whatever the fuck that was called back then.
Yeah.
For the football team, the Florida Gators.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so
Oh,
it was
Gators.
like, yeah, so they
Gatorade.
like the smart kids used a bit of science and figured out how to like replenish the what is that called? I should know the word.
Electrolytes.
Electrolytes.
Yes,
Yeah.
bingo.
I heard they're made up.
It made up.
I heard electrolytes are made up. My buddy went through for like
Made up of what?
like nutrition and shit. No, they're like made up. They're
You know,
not,
it's not a real
they're
thing.
not real. Like they no, sorry, not that they're not a real thing. The like it's the story is a fallacy or whatever. Like,
I don't know, man, but all I know is when I drink Gatorade, I feel better.
yeah.
Especially
Yeah.
if I'm hungover. And when I drink
Yeah.
Powerade, I feel even better.
Oh, that should be a fucking commercial.
Yeah, so now Powerade owes me $50 too.
Yeah.
Like that's
yeah.
I'm not gonna-
Holy shit, he's actually dropped a bunch of sponsors on here already.
yeah.
God damn.
Getting
alright.
into it.
Yeah.
After that, I'd say gin or vodka.
Vodka.
Vodka all
Fucking
day.
gin. What is that? Juniper bullshit. Tastes like pine needles.
Oh.
Doesn't always have to
Love
be
it.
juniper. Have you ever had a nice sipping gin?
No, see, this is where I draw the line.
Yeah.
Okay? So these fucking guys with this milk vodka bullshit did the same thing.
Yeah.
I feel
Like, I don't know, man. I was always taught, like, if it wasn't made from the plant it was originally made from, it was like shit.
No. But the thing is gin is made from grain. Gin is basically moonshine.
No,
Yes.
gin is made from junipers.
No, it's not. They
Yeah.
infuse it with the junipers, man.
Infuse it.
I don't know about that.
Man.
I think it's made from.
Text Google. Let's
it.
see.
I'm pretty sure it's like fermented juniper
No,
distilled.
man. No, because they have sipping gins. They have sipping gins that are just infused with different stuff.
So it's rye. Is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying. Is it's
It's just
moonshine.
white rye.
It's a moonshine. Yeah.
No, it's not. So it's just infused.
Yeah, man.
So then we could make
It's
gin.
I looked it up.
Grain based.
It says that-
Use wheat or barley before producers add botanicals and water.
Yeah.
So
All of it?
gin.
No, but all of gin from the beginning of time.
Like it just says gin.
Like I'm not fucking crazy or nothing, but like I'm assuming like
Says
these
gin.
boozes and
It
shit
just
like
says
gin,
gin.
like
But
gin
no.
probably wasn't made like on the plains of Abraham from the grain farmers. There's like these motherfuckers that needed to drink liquor. It's like toilet bowl fucking booze in the jails, man. They didn't have grain, so they made booze out of junipers, just like the Mexican and agave and all that fucking crap. Like, is that not how booze started? Like they really
Says that they
I
add
have no
botanicals
idea.
to give it its
I don't
distinct
know.
flavor.
No, this is crazy.
It's
So
for
right here
flavor.
it says.
I'm pretty confident it's potatoes or
uh,
vodka. and-
To give it signature pine flavor, in fact, gin can only be called a gin if it has junipers in it. Without this, the spirit is technically considered vodka.
Boom.
Okay, so
so they originate.
Yeah.
Gin would have originated. So they wouldn't have had
but it's not
wheat.
made out of juniper.
It would have been originally.
No, it's not, man.
Yes, because they
Man,
wouldn't
it
have had
literally
wheat.
says
It
right here,
doesn't say-
gin. It says gin initially comes from grain base, usually wheat or barley, before producers add botanicals and water. It's made from grain. And then they add botanicals.
Modern gin is made from
And
grain.
it says they put the fucking
So-
juniper berries,
So
botanicals,
now
and spices,
vodka is
they
made
have-
from milk.
but they make
For
for sure. But what I'm saying is they
Can
make
I
different
tell you
gins.
what I know about these things? Okay, so back in the day when gin was invented, it wasn't like some guy at a fucking bar, Michael Caine and Tom Cruise and fucking cocktails were like, oh, let's take some grain spirits and put
All
a
right,
little...
so I've just sorry to interrupt
Okay.
your story here, but
Sorry,
I found
man.
a different origin story of
Thank you.
gin,
Oh,
and
no
it's a
way.
Dutch physician who went by the name of Franciscus Sylvius is thought to be the inventor of gin, having started prescribing a juniper-based distilled spirit for medical purposes in 1550.
Thank you.
Holy fuck,
So-
it's like the Dark Ages.
So yeah, he was-
Juniper base.
So
it
booze,
was
so
made with
liquor,
junipers.
liquor. I'll tell you something about what I know about liquor, or what I think I know about liquor. So typically, liquors like the Friars, they're developed like out of like necessity times, like way back when, before things were plentiful.
Right.
So the foundations of what the liquor are based on fermenting things that were readily available for those people
Right.
who developed it at the time.
Right.
So that's why in Russia, potatoes, it was easy. Whatever, they could grow potatoes in the fucking Arctic or whatever is going
Yeah.
on in Russia. That's why that's why it was the
vodka.
main thing there, because they didn't have wheat. They didn't have wheat fields. Now there
Yeah.
might have been some rye in Ukraine back then. You know, so lots of wheat there, but
Right.
wheat's probably an engineered thing. It probably didn't grow very much naturally in the environment. It would have been seed engineered. You want to get into that stuff? You should see, like, that's crazy stuff.
Yeah.
But that's how boozes were invented.
Yeah.
Oh,
all
for sure.
of them.
But they have,
That's
man,
crazy.
but there's other gins that don't have juniper flavor
Now
to it.
for sure,
Yeah.
yeah.
There's other gins that don't have juniper.
But I'm
because it's
talking like
infused.
same with like.
But when they make gin, they make it out of grain and then they infuse it with the flavor.
Now they do now,
Yeah.
but what I'm saying is gin is not. It's the same as the cow style. So like, and this is what we're getting back to, like tequila. Same thing. There's tequila that's not made from agave.
Yeah,
but
there's
agave
three
is
different cactuses that they use for gin.
well, the main one I'm again confident it's agave. They
use a mezcal cactus too.
So if you look up the best tequilas, they're going to be pure agave. I'm confident of that. Fairly confident, like, because your confidence is challenging my confidence, but I'm
Yeah.
but I'm pretty confident of that.
Yeah.
So that, and then the ones that aren't made of agave are like the cheap shitty ones. So like,
Okay.
so now we have a vodka that's made from milk. That's a cheap shitty one.
Right.
We have a gin that's made from fucking whatever and flavored with.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
a cheap
yeah.
shitty one. So it's
Right.
like wine. Like the real expensive wines are made fucking 300 years ago, you know,
Yeah.
like, because that's so made from the grapes. These are made from genetically modified shit store grape, you know, not quite,
Yeah.
but you know, like it's the pureness. It's the
For
pure.
sure.
That's where this stuff all comes from. You can fact check it all you want.
We'll be right on
But
that,
anyways,
and
yeah.
we'll
We
like
do it
there.
because we
yeah.
figured we have to because
Yeah, next.
people are watching. So
Yeah,
if
yeah.
they
What do
really
they got
wanna
out
figure, we
there?
have to-
Did they chiming in on
No,
this? Do
they
they like their
don't.
fucking spirits and their gin? Or no?
We're getting a lot of lightning round.
The coolest thing about the
questions.
gin, though, is that in the club or under a black light, it glows. That's the neatest thing
Yes,
about gin,
I've
right?
seen
Favorite.
that. I've seen that. Yeah, for sure.
Gin and tonic.
Yeah, that's cool.
Gin and tonics, like, yeah. This guy got me on them hard.
Yeah.
All right, so what's after gin and vodka? If you could eat from any restaurant free for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Oh, is everyone answering this? Can I go last?
No,
Yeah.
you can go first, and we've answered many times, unfortunately.
I'm gonna say
so-
Golden Palace fucking egg
Yeah.
rolls. I just
Oh,
fucking
man.
suck them egg
Yo,
rolls
we've-
into me.
I think
man.
those have
I was
been
like
dropped-
this close to ordering. I've never eaten there before. and I was
What?
this close to order- yeah, man.
The
I was
egg
just,
Oh
rolls
my
are
God.
they're like
insane.
world famous apparently,
Yeah,
right?
man,
So
they're
like,
unreal.
but I was like going through fucking Uber
All their
Eats,
food- yeah,
trying to figure
yeah.
out what to eat. I'm like, oh, fucking Golden Palace, see what's here. And I'm like looking through it. I'm like, oh, it's just egg rolls. Like it just seems to be
fuck,
fucking
man,
egg rolls.
They're so
I'm like, do I
good.
want to pay like fucking what? I don't know what it was,
They're
like
like $3.
30,
They're like this
30
big,
some bucks
yeah,
for like
yeah,
10 egg
yeah,
rolls. I'm like, do I want to do that? I'm like, they must be fucking good.
They're good. They're good.
Dude, I
didn't do it though. Maybe I will.
I ordered like 25.
You know what? Don't do it, because then you'll be like, fuck, I want more.
Yeah.
I ordered 25 of them one time, man, and then like my buddy got a pizza and another buddy bought like burgers or something. We're like, yeah, we'll just buy a bunch of shit and everyone can eat whatever. So I go and I get these egg rolls and fucking like we ate all that fucking food, like that night except for the egg rolls, and then like still like the Sunday, like it was a Friday, the Sunday I woke up and was like still eating egg rolls.
Seriously?
They're fucking big, man. But I thought like, I'll get 25, we'll eat them all for sure. Like,
yeah,
if
the
anything,
burn
that's
ends
what's
and
getting
they're
eaten.
good, man. You got to try them if you never had them.
Yeah, I've never had them.
And the rest of their food's good. I love chicken.
There's a
and
place
rice
in the east called Charlie Chan's. And I'm
It's
like,
good
yo,
too.
is this the same as the Charlie Chan's egg rolls, man?
Yeah.
Like,
those are good for the store.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
There's another one in Stittsville. We got egg rolls from there once, and I don't know what it's called, but it's pretty good. Something like Queen or something like that.
Okay, yeah.
But it's good, yeah. But that's what I would pick.
Golden Palace, that's a good one though, actually.
Because I like that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's so many choices though. I could eat like a burrito, fuck man, like a smothered burrito. You ever one of those things, man?
Oh, yeah,
Unreal,
Eating
man.
some
Yeah.
burritos.
What else you got? What do you guys? You guys answer the question? Or you already did? Yeah, you already did. Never
Yeah,
mind.
Yeah, but
I don't
know,
even
man.
know, man. Like, it
Opens up a
changes
new
every
whole
day.
world, yeah.
But
Probably Flavors of Kerala in Canada. It's closed now, but it was
it's hard to
delicious.
say, man. I'm just the guy that answers or asks the question.
Yeah.
I'm trying to like remember. I actually deleted all the questions at one point. I'd go to them for reference.
So the lightning
Now
that
it's
you
all
ask
top-
all your
all
guests
top.
the same questions? Is that the
Yeah.
idea? with
Usually,
this?
yeah.
Okay,
Well,
cool.
there's some extra questions here and there, but yeah.
Nice.
Generally, they're all the same.
So what,
and
you deleted them all and you don't have them?
Remember? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I know. I
deleted
thought you
yeah.
got them back. But
No, I did not. I figured I could do it off the top of my head.
Yeah,
which
man,
I'm
keep
going
going.
to
You're doing
fucking do
fine,
it.
bud.
I'm
You're
fucking
doing
here
great.
and I'm
Hey,
fucking doing it.
You're
So-
doing awesome. Like,
we do have some guest questions.
Do we?
for later if you?
Yeah.
let's-
Let me keep
okay,
on track
okay.
here.
This is
so,
awesome. Like, as if
would-
I'm so flattered people want to ask questions.
Would you rather lose your cell phone or your wallet?
My wallet.
Your wallet?
Yeah, because I can still pay with my cell phone if my card isn't all fucking messed up, and I can call. Yeah, I'd rather be able to communicate than pay for shit. Because I can I can talk and I'd rather.
I agree with that.
Yeah, 100%. I can if I can communicate, I don't need a wallet. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who needs a wallet these days, anyways? No one fucking needs a wallet.
Right?
anymore.
Yeah.
It's all on your
All your
phone
literally
anyway.
all your cards can be digital.
Yeah,
fucking-
I'd rather be
like-
able to communicate because I'd be like worried. People worried about me. They're like, "Oh fuck, we haven't heard from him for 2 days. Where is he? Ah, I just lost my phone again."
Fuck, I know a guy like that, man. He'll lose his phone like sometimes 3 or 4 times a month.
Jeez, man.
And,
yeah.
like, so
I
be
put
like,
a
"Oh,
rope
man."
on it or
Yeah,
string
I
or
haven't heard-
something. You know,
I haven't heard from him for
Yeah.
3. Like he'd be like texting me, and then it's like, oh, nothing. Then it's like, hey, what's up? Okay. Then it's like 3 days later. I'm like, man, I'm like, is he okay? Like, have you heard from him? Like, is everyone all right? Like, shit. Then he'll hit me up and be like, fucking lost my phone again. I'm like, cool. Like, you're good though. Like, sweet. Sometimes, man, literally one time it was like 2 days. Like lost his phone for a few days. Got his phone back, and it was like 2 days later.
Gone
lost
again.
it again. And I'm like, man, I swear this time he died, man. I'm like, it can't be that fast. No, it's fast.
One of the funniest fucking things I've seen is I think does anyone deal with Royal Bank here?
No, I don't.
So I think it's
I used
Royal
to.
Bank. I don't either, but Royal Bank, I'm pretty sure it's Royal Bank. Royal Bank, they're $50. So the on the card, on your fucking card, it shows you, I think, the number of cards you've had.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And I remember someone showing me their fucking card, and it was like 50-some fucking cards. I forget who it was. I was like, no way. That's fucking. You're better. You're worse than I am with these things. You know what I mean?
Holy shit.
I'm like 6 or 7 in. Like you're 50 fucking 4 cards in.
Yeah.
What?
It's like a new card every week.
Yeah, that's fuck. Yeah.
It pretty much is. That's actually more than
Pretty well, yeah. I don't know how many years it was over, but I was just pretty much shocked at the number, you know.
Yeah, no doubt. Would you rather go about your day naked or fall asleep for a whole year?
Ooh, fuck, that's a deep one.
Is it?
Steve.
It depends on the year, but last year I would have rather fall asleep. Now probably naked.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. It depends on the year.
Yeah, no doubt.
Depends on the year.
Would you rather fight 100 duck-sized horses or 1 horse-sized duck?
I think I'd rather fight the duck. One duck. I
One
think.
duck,
Yeah.
Yeah, fucking take that mother. That's a lot of meat.
Yeah. I think that I don't like getting flanked. You know what I mean? Like I want to keep that fucker in front of me the whole time.
Yeah.
I feel like as soon as I get surrounded, I'm done. You know, like they'll start fucking pecking at my legs and shit, or
Would
or
you
kicking
rather?
me? They're duck-sized horses, right?
Yeah, fucking ducks. 100 of them.
Yeah, no, I
should just
just kick around, but man, they kick harder than me, man. I don't know.
Some broken
I think
ankles,
I still want the big
bruised
duck,
ankles,
man.
yeah.
The big duck.
Shit, it was just in my head too.
Sorry to.
Oh fuck, it's like going away like a dream. No, it was right there.
It'll come back.
Just trying to remember them.
Well, one of them. Would you rather? If you were to lose one of your 5 senses, what would it be?
Hearing, because I'm already half deaf.
Damn. Quick with it. Shit, it was right on the tip of my tongue, and then I lost it, man.
I can't
One of
even
the
think of it,
questions.
man.
Yeah.
So would you rather be lost deep sea or outer space?
Thank you.
Fuck. That's a deep question. Does outer space even exist, right? You want to
No.
get into that?
Don't tell me you're a flat earther.
I don't know what I am, man. I'm just a guy. That's what I am. Right? I'm not subscribing to any labels
Just
here.
happen to be here, man.
I just happen to be here, just passing through. Fuck. I'm equipped to be under the ocean.
You're in the
It's like-
Titanic.
I'm not in that
submarine.
fucking
You're
tight
in the-
thing. Oh god, I want to be in space then.
Yeah.
Put me in space any day.
I don't know. I think what do we usually say? You're just like in the water.
Like stranded out in deep ocean, and we should say.
I guess,
You're
yeah,
gonna
like
be stranded
if you would
on
be
the
I'd rather be
deep
stranded in
sea.
the
But,
ocean.
like,
I
yeah.
think that your chances of any sort of recovery hopes in the ocean are way better than space at this
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Make
Elon's
believe,
the only
man.
guy, and I don't know if
Yeah.
he's interested
Yeah.
in fucking coming to get you or not.
Yeah. he
Especially
did-
the way we've been talking about electric cars on here. Fuck. Yeah, he's gonna leave me there
Yeah.
floating away in orbit.
Yeah, wait, who is it? Like, wait,
Interesting
shit, man.
thing that, and whether it's a true thing or not, but the ocean I think is the key to a lot of like the future, right? And apparently like a lot of medications and things like that, and like medicines have been derived from ocean life and like plants and animals in the ocean.
Yeah.
But apparently like less than 3% of the ocean has actually been discovered and like explored.
yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, we know
Well,
far
there's-
more about actually like
The space.
the furthest distances of the universe
Right?
than we know about our
Or
own.
the
fucking-
Right, yeah.
oceans,
So that's an
Oceans.
interesting thing
It
for
is.
people to focus or not focus on, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Have you ever seen the lakes under in the ocean?
Yeah, and like,
Like-
yeah, like this sort of looks like cloud. Yeah, I've seen all sorts of crazy things,
yeah.
and some of the animals and stuff like that. And
There's a lot of stuff. Well, I guess like you said, it's like 97%, but there's a lot of stuff that we don't even know. Don't even know it exists.
Yeah, they don't
You know
even-
what I
yeah,
mean? Like,
yeah.
I don't even know what it might look like or nothing.
you see
like-
every now and then there'd be like this thing on the internet. It's like this fucking thing washed up on shore, and everyone's
Yeah.
like, "What the fuck is it?"
Yeah.
Oh, was that that
Yeah.
big fucking
Whoa.
metal thing?
I saw a thing. No, I was
That
just
too.
like,
Yeah,
they're
I never
talking
heard
about
any more about that.
They're
Yeah,
talking
same
about-
here.
they're
Yeah,
talking about
no.
animals and shit. But I just saw a thing today that they were saying that like maybe the
Yeah, fuck, I
aliens.
wonder what happened to that.
But they're saying that maybe the aliens aren't from space and they're from like inside the Earth.
So there's,
Yeah.
Hollow Earth. There are different
Hollow Earth.
dimensions.
Are you into
fucking-
that? You're aware of all the different.
Oh
sort
man,
of ideas
yeah. I've
out
gone
there?
through down many rabbit holes of conspiracy
Yeah, okay,
theories.
right on.
and-
Yeah, so I've just kind of like ran around the outside and almost slipped down them. You know what I mean? Like more than anything. But yeah, the all kinds of crazy conspiracy theorists. The people in the center of the earth. That's what they like the big secret they're hiding. They never drilled through the whole earth. You know what I mean? We've only gone so deep. They don't know how fucking far it is.
Yeah.
And
But-
the entrances are in like Antarctica, like shit. And that's why there's
Yeah.
like the treaties why no one's allowed there.
Yeah, you can't go
right,
there.
yeah.
The
And
flat
it's like-
earthers will say that that's because like that's like,
there's
the
another
wall.
universe, like like we're in a
all kind of-
firmament and all this
Right.
kind of crap and shit. We'll never fucking know at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I think we do know though, but I like the likes of us might never personally like get out
No,
there and be
right.
like, oh
Somebody
yeah, like,
knows though.
You know what I
right?
mean? For sure, like
Yeah.
absolutely,
People
man.
know.
Like there's people.
Someone out there has.
Again,
to
there's
know.
people in fucking ancient world that did these experiments with shadows on the ground and just knowing that the world was not a flat surface. Like,
Yeah, it's-
there's ways that it can be done.
And there's
like,
these ancient civilizations that they think were like smarter than us and like more advanced and
Yeah.
stuff. And Yeah, who fucking knows, man?
Crazy, man.
Again, I think that we'll never know, because if we don't know, then we're better workers, you know, and we're that resource, right?
Yeah,
As soon as
yeah.
we
That's
know,
what I was saying earlier, they want to keep us
That's
dumb,
just
like
breaking
just
out
smart
the
enough to
matrix.
run everything,
Yeah.
but not
Yeah.
fucking smart enough to actually realize that.
yeah,
oh, like,
like just a bunch of McDonald's workers. You
You're
know what I
fucking
mean? It's fucking
Yeah.
pimply
eternal
face,
spiritual fucking consciousness that has like infinite wisdom and everything.
Yeah.
You know, you don't want to fucking realize that
Yeah.
shit.
All right.
Here we go.
Last question.
Oh, I'm just getting started.
Yeah, I know. Well,
What do you got here?
So you find a book, you find it, you start reading it, find out it's about yourself. Do you continue reading it knowing it holds your future, or do you throw it away?
I fucking look at the author and see who wrote this motherfucker, and I'm like, yeah, hopefully it's like someone that made a lot of money, and I can sue them now for fucking shit or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
But like, if I was like in a state of mind where I'd read the thing, you know, fuck yeah. If I knew the day I was gonna die, man, I'd live my life way fucking different. I can tell you that.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, imagine you could plan that right to a T the day
Would
you're
you
gonna
rather
die.
know?
Well,
Would you rather know how you're gonna die or when you're gonna die?
When? I don't give a fuck how. Just the day. Then I know how to plan everything around that.
Yeah. No, that's for sure. That's good
shit.
enough.
Yeah, I don't even know how. It's just gonna. I know it's gonna happen that day. I don't even know why.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm not trying to avoid it. Because
Yeah,
man, I don't have
exactly,
a
right?
fucking cent left, anyways. I
Yeah.
want to die at that point. I'm ready to fucking die. Trust me.
Yeah.
Take me. I'm so burned out from
Yeah.
this life of geting ready to die. I gotta
Yeah.
fucking die.
and then it doesn't happen.
Yeah. Fuck. Oh, it's the next day. At least, hopefully, it's the next day.
C8 Corvette or a GTR?
The C8's the new one.
Yeah.
Fuck. So I would
Engine's
take that.
In the trunk.
Yeah, I love the mid-engine rear-wheel drive. It shouldn't be called a Corvette, or it should be called like a Corvette 2. You can't take a front engine rear like GT car and turn it into a fucking mid-engine rear.
Yeah, that's
yeah,
fair.
yeah, yeah.
Did you know the transmissions were in the back
Already?
already? Like
In what?
In the Corvettes? From
No.
this, from C4 on, the transmissions
In the back.
are in the back.
No,
Swear to
what do you
God.
mean?
Swear to God. Google it right now. Here.
No, impossible.
Okay, let's see.
Yeah.
No.
All right, well, you do that.
Should
We
we
do.
this for
It's
after?
a V8, right? It's a V8 with a bell housing, man. There's no way the fucking transmission is in the back.
Are the Corvette transmissions in the rear end?
The new one will be.
Okay, so
And it's like a new engine design. Fuck, what is the name of it? It's not like a plane. It's
you're
some
all
sort
wrong.
of plane.
The transmission in
Crazy.
all Corvettes have been in the rear since 1953.
Impossible.
Our Corvette transmissions in
Impossible.
the rear. The Chevy Corvette uses the rear.
transmissions-
Listen. The Chevy Corvette uses a rear-mounted transmission shown above with
Let me
a
see it.
torque tube that channels power. So my buddy works on Corvettes, race
Let me
cars.
see it.
No, but listen, my buddy works on race Corvettes, and so I saw this thing in his house one time, and I was like, "What the fuck is that?" It's a big tube that runs down the center of the car. Your drive shaft runs down it. The drive shaft goes like solid onto, not solid, but like it connects onto the motor.
So where's the clutch?
The clutch is in the back. So then, but then he had the whole rear end ripped apart, and I go in and I see the thing.
Maybe
look,
the new one, maybe. There's no fucking way, man.
No.
Man, I
This
know
is-
something about cars, and there's no
this
fucking
is
way.
since C4, man. Since C4. So look, this is a 97 C5.
Where is it?
Look at 97 C5.
Where's the transmission?
I'm telling you, my buddy works on.
How do you shift it?
There's a way, man. Well, you see it. It's back there, right? So there's a tube that runs down, and it has the drive shaft in it. So that drive shaft.
I want to check my own pictures.
Okay. Do it. But I swear, man. Like I said, my buddy works on, like he builds race cars and shit.
I believe you, but I want to look at some pictures.
I've seen it. Because he
I've
had
never
the,
seen that before.
man, I literally blown away. This is just last summer I found this out. I tell everyone that knows anything about cars, I'm like, did you know the fucking transmission's in the back? I literally just had this conversation about a week ago with somebody, and I was like, man, I'm telling you. They're like, no, it's the new one. I look it up, I'm like, it says it's C4, so that's like 90s or whatever, early 90s or something. So I was like, man, I'm like, it's been a thing. Like,
C4 is...
we just drove by one. We saw one today, actually. I didn't point it out, but we saw one.
So that's like the original square flip-up lights.
Yeah.
It's like that's after next one after like the Stingray.
Yeah, right.
Well, there was.
I think is C4.
They had other Stingrays too, though.
No, but the Stingray's the body the style, like the model.
Well, that's what I mean. Is
like the original Stingray would have been like a that's
C4,
okay.
Yeah.
That's exactly.
C3 was this thing, or no? Either way, yeah. But yeah, so from then on, it was fucking transmission in the back.
I'm shocked at that.
I'm still shocked at it.
Well, I don't see how that could shift, but like the shift linkage goes through that thing. Like these cars were standard, right?
I don't know, man. Don't ask me, man.
Yeah. I get it in a fully electric, like whatever.
Yeah, but yeah, true. But I'm telling you, like,
I'm believing you at this point.
But even too, like whenever, like I said, one of the cars was on the hoist and shit, and he had the axles out of the back or whatever. Yeah. He had the whole everything, whatever. And I looked under, I'm like, man, what's all that? I'm like, that's the rear end. He's like, oh, it's the transmission, and that's the rear end. And I was like, what the fuck, man? I'm like, crazy. He's like, remember I showed you the torque tube thing? And I was like, shit, because it's literally, man, it's like a big tube with it has a bell housing on the end of it, and it goes onto the fucking motor.
And the clutch and everything's at the back.
And then it fucking goes back.
So your drive shaft is always spinning.
Yeah, but the reason why that torque tube is there is for that reason, right? It's a solid piece of steel. Not solid piece of steel, but it's like it's solid around it, right? So it holds that. So then that's fucking spinning around, right? So then the thing is if that wasn't there, right? There's so much more stress and everything on that, right? For that power to be pushing all the way back. But because it has that thing, and then it's not banging off of shit and like whatever, and then even too, he was saying like if anything happens to it, it's not smashing around and fucking shit up. But like I said, man, this.
But I think it would be worse because it would always be spinning. You couldn't disengage it. So if you did lose a U-joint, that fucking drive shaft is spinning around. You're not a mechanical guy. You said that earlier.
I'm fucking,
it's all Japanese to me. I'm just watching the computer.
But no, but it's like I said. It's
Let's move on to something more interesting than this fucking crap.
Okay. So I have another
that
question
everyone
for you
can participate in.
I have another question for you though. So
I'm gonna look it up. I believe you. You showed me a picture. Your picture is very compelling. I'm just shocked. I'm sort of caught off guard because I'm picturing like an LS1 fucking V8 with a flywheel on the back of it. And anyways,
we'll figure it out. But
we'll figure it out.
So you walk into a room, and there's a baby in the room, and
what's his name?
I'm not sure, but it's a girl. So that was rude for you to assume it's gender. But
did I not say it? What's its name? The baby.
Who knows? Doesn't matter.
We can watch it later.
All right, maybe. I don't know.
I don't know. I just
what's
thought
his name?
Yeah.
But anyways, so you now have a choice. You either slap this baby.
For why?
And then no, but listen. Either you slap this baby, and whenever you walk out of the room, no one in the world knows that you slapped the baby, or you don't slap the baby. But when you leave that room, everyone in the world thinks you slapped the baby.
Fuck it. I wouldn't slap the baby.
Oh, really?
Why the fuck would I slap the baby?
I don't know.
Did the baby deserve it?
No.
Who knows?
I would not slap a baby for no reason.
Does a baby deserve to be slapped ever?
I would not. No, on the bum. No, a baby. No. No, you're right. A baby. Yeah, a baby does not. Yeah, they don't know any better. Fucking. But a 1 to fucking 19-year-old. The odd time.
Yeah. I was like
in the soft tissue.
But when he first asked this question, I was like, I'm slapping the baby. There's a whole room full of people. We're slapping the baby. Yeah. And fucking Dozart. Shout out Dozart. But he's like, baby, man, he's like, what the fuck's wrong with you guys? He's like, man, I wouldn't slap the baby. He's like, shit, man. And,
I don't care what they think.
No, exactly. But that's what he said. He's like, but he goes, man, he's like, it's not about what other people think. It's about what you think.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, I'm going to know that I didn't slap the baby, and that's what I'm good with.
Yeah, that's all I care about. I'm not going to slap the baby so these people like me.
Well, yeah, but I was like, shit, you make me feel like a fucking asshole, man. Like,
you should feel like an asshole baby slap motherfucker.
And on top of it,
we all know a little something about you.
You're a baby slapper.
You guys said it too. But on top of it, he's sitting there. He's like, man, he says to me, he's like, do you have a kid? I'm like, yeah. And he's like, what the fuck?
You ever
and then he's
him?
Like, does he have a kid? I'm like, yeah, he has 2 kids. He's like, what the fuck? He's like, does he have a kid? I'm like, yeah, he's got a kid. He's like, what the fuck?
That's
he's
funny.
Sitting there with no kids, and he's like,
I'm the only guy that would slap a fucking baby.
Yeah. He's got the more, I don't know.
No, I never slap
look.
Yeah. What's that?
I just wouldn't do it for everyone else's sake. I'd rather just
yeah.
fucking not slap the baby. I don't care what the fuck they think. You think I slapped the baby? Come and fucking hit me and see what happens.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah.
I'll slap you.
I'll slap you.
Well, man, fuck, that was an entertaining episode, man.
Yeah.
Good one, man.
Shit, that was really good.
So I'm trying to think.
Better
it's
than
all
most.
over.
I would
Wait,
say.
hold
on. Oh, really?
We haven't
We
went
do-
this long in a
What?
while.
I do
Wait,
before I
might
just
get called back.
Yeah.
you might. I just can't. I don't feel right leaving it without
It says we are having fun tonight? Question mark.
asking
This is
some of
whenever-
the crowd questions.
No, I want. This is what it's
So,
all about. It's all.
favorite movie or movie genre?
Oh, fuck, that's a tough
Beauty,
one.
yeah, that's a good one.
Shit, I don't even know what I would say there. Favorite movie? Fuck. Real cool movie I always loved was Boondock Saints. I don't know if you've ever seen that. That's a cool
yeah.
movie.
Yes.
Real good.
You gotta love your rom-coms, like with your old lady. I got a wife and all that shit, right?
Yeah.
So, but fuck yeah, I'd have to say that. Maybe action movies.
Yeah,
I
you
like
like
shooting and
Boondock
stuff,
Saints?
and that's a good flick.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that is good.
it's probably. I wouldn't say it's I wouldn't say I have a favorite movie.
Yeah, it's hard to pick, but
It is hard to pick.
That's why I say or genre.
I'd love to
right?
know
Like,
their favorite movie. I'm very versatile. I can be. I'm
bit
at night.
anything.
I'm like a moth. I'm like, oh, fuck. If there's light, I'll watch it.
yeah.
I've watched
That's
some
great.
Bachelorette and
Yeah.
Bachelor and all this sort of stuff. So.
Yeah.
But no, I enjoy movies. It's fuck. That's a good one.
enough.
What's the John Wick? I love that shit.
Yeah, John
That's,
Wick's
I need to
there's-
see the newest one. I haven't seen the newest one. yet.
Okay, yeah, I enjoy that. It's good entertainment.
I just saw the
for
new
me, but-
Ninja Turtles the other day. It's pretty
The
good.
new one, eh?
It's pretty
Is
good.
it-
I'd love
It's
to know
like,
your question. The person who asked the question's favorite movie. I'm always curious.
Well, if
to
they're still in the chat, they've
yeah. Sorry if we didn't
Answer
get to it
that
soon
one.
enough, but
favorite music genre.
Oh yeah.
probably classic rock.
Yeah.
I was raised on that by my parents. Country it's creeped its way in. There's a lot of like good country music. There's no better drinking music than country music, and I like to drink beer especially.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say a toss up between those two. But again, very versatile, like all kinds of different shit, like all the the earworms and pop culture stuff typically.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Well, I was talking to somebody, I forget where it was, and like it wasn't somebody I know, it was just a random person. Well, this guy goes, I was
No
like,
idea.
yeah, what kind of music do you listen to?
happening?
And he goes, like mostly like 90s rock and shit. And I was like, okay, like cool. And he's like, like Kiss, and I was like, whoa,
90s rock.
did you say fucking
Yeah.
Kiss, man? I was like, all right, cool, we're done, man. Like,
80s,
have a good night.
70s.
so the speaking of music, typically you guys are big hip hop guys, like this hip hop show typically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you talked about the one guy in
Tory
from Toronto.
Lanez.
Oh, yeah,
With
Tory
the
Lanez.
shooting and whatnot.
Yeah.
Is that something that we should cover before we go, or we gotta go, or what? The
Man,
fuck?
there's so much like actually.
There's a
there
lot we could cover.
Was,
I
did
didn't
you
know
hear about
much
the Lil
about
Tay
it.
thing too?
Oh, yeah, but
Lil
Little Tay's
Tay
still
thing,
alive.
too.
She's still alive.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah,
apparently
we got to
she's still
appeal
alive.
to your base user group here. We got to cover this, guys.
Well, there's a lot. There's a lot we can touch on for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely.
There's not much info. Yeah, I guess though. Like, right, Tory Lanez. Yeah, he was sentenced
years.
to 10
10
years. I believe he'll get less though.
Well, he'll serve
I
less
don't.
time. but-
Yeah.
I don't think he'll get the full 10 years.
Yeah,
Yeah.
something like that. And
But,
then
like-
yeah, the story of that is like, I don't even know how much of a fight that was. Like, compared to let's say Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. That's going to be a Netflix special in about a week.
Yeah,
You'll be able to watch the whole fucking thing.
Well, it's funny when you say that. I'm not in the scene, so it's I'm kind of far removed from it. So I wasn't aware of it, right? So it goes to show you how, it's if
publicized
it's
or
right.
whatever,
You got to go looking for it or know
Yeah.
about it to kind of know
Yeah.
to find out about it.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
the Amber Heard thing, you mean, or like?
No,
With
the
Johnny
Tory
Lanez.
Lanez.
Yeah,
Oh, right,
no,
right.
no,
they're
I
saying the
stepped on a
coverage, the
bee.
coverage,
everyone's
the
Everybody heard
coverage
about
of
that,
both,
yeah.
like,
Yeah,
because
jar
Johnny
of
Depp
Coke and shit.
and Amber Heard was like a domestic dispute. It was like a couple that had obviously there was like some shit going on there,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
like the whole world knew about that shit. And now we're talking about a dude who allegedly shot a chick in the foot, and
No one
we
knows.
didn't really know a whole lot of details. You know what
And
I
it's
mean?
surrounded
And-
by kind of secrecy.
yeah,
and
and obviously Tory lost, so it's like, you know what I mean. But yeah, anyway, it's you gotta wonder, man.
So is that like
But-
the rap scene, Canadian rap scene's kind of mourning that type of thing?
I have
or-
no, I don't.
Well,
I think
it's
it's more
definitely
or
a big
less,
topic in the rap scene. In
as opposed to
in
Canadian
Canada, for sure.
rap. It's more. I would say it's way more of like a male losing to the system against a woman again.
Well,
is more or less. Well, I don't know. That's pretty drastic
but
to
that
say.
Doesn't really, that's a different. He was asking.
It's not really.
But he was asking like if that's a big topic in Canadian hip hop right now.
Yeah,
I know. Scenario or whatever.
Yeah.
I would say it definitely is for sure. Like like all the places I see posting it and shit like that. So it's definitely something that everyone's like paying attention to right now.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It's like a Mike Tyson type of thing, like where like the girl. Like,
it's definitely popular. Yeah. You know,
there's a lot of, it's nothing that he did is right, but there's a lot of circumstances that led to it that everyone could have done differently that didn't help anyone type of thing.
Yeah, and on top of it too, they had it was a whole bunch of shit. Like I said before, I was telling you earlier, before the trial started, they were saying like basically like the doctor came out and said she wasn't shot and all this, and like it was basically looking like he was gonna be good, but then now like he fucking got, all of a sudden, he got convicted or whatever, right? But the thing is like, we don't know, right? So then, like, also too, the jury or whatever the fuck, was that the one? That was a different case. Never mind. The jury, in another case, the jury couldn't get to a conclusion, so they did a mistrial or whatever.
What's this YM Melly guy?
YNW Melly. That's what I'm talking about too. Yeah.
So he didn't get life in prison.
Yeah, he did not. Yeah, he didn't.
Yeah, it was a mistrial, but they're retrying him. They're doing another.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I didn't know.
Yeah, so my son, like, I saw like TikToks of this guy, and he just looks like someone whose music I don't want to listen to. You know what I mean? Like, But then my kid's like, hey, this is that fucking guy, and I'm like, and then you listen to the song, and it's a catchy song, right?
Yeah.
Like it's good. It's like popular, and it's like.
Was he with? Who else? Like who?
He like killed his own buddies and shit or something.
Allegedly.
He was. So, but the thing is, there's over 200 pieces of fucking ballistic evidence that prove that he fucking did it. So like it's hard to say, but like even too, they're like, where were you sitting in the car? Is he right there? They're like, okay, well, they're saying that the shots came from the person that was sitting right there. You know, and it's like, okay, well, and then they got out and they shot the car from the outside to make it look like there was like a drive-by and shit. And then like his buddy fucking changed his clothes. I think they might have both actually changed their clothes and shit. And like, so the one thing is, and then they had gunshot residue on them and shit too. Yeah. So like the thing is like, if us four are driving in a car and two of us get shot, and or two other people get shot, and I'm there, like I'm probably gonna be like, okay, cool, like let's go to the hospital, or like let's call the ambulance, or like let's deal with this, right?
You would hope, right?
Yeah. But they like, I guess like it was like hours until they actually went to the hospital, and they like went and changed and did all this other shit and like whatever. And like apparently he went to another fucking rapper's house
and let their buddies die in the car.
Yeah, and then like brought them there and like acted like they just got in a drive-by or whatever, and they're like, well, you guys have gunshot residue on you, and like fucking the shots came from in the car, and like this happened a long time ago, like what the fuck, you know? So it just shows guilty all over. But at the same time, like there was also like talk of like, well, like I said, the jury, there was like a hung jury or whatever you call it, like they didn't know what to do. So then like it just went on so long, they called it a mistrial. But they're retrying him apparently, like
which I assume is like a new jury or something, I guess.
Yeah.
People, fresh people or whatever.
What? Crazy.
How it works, it's crazy.
And then the guy, this guy, he released a song called, I believe it was like after he got like, because he was let out of jail for a little while once he was arrested or whatever. I believe it was in that time he released a song called "Murder on My Mind." And the song's about like him.
Levi's played this for me.
Okay, then there's another one called it's the same, just like reverse. So it's Murder on My Mind on My Murder. So Murder on My Mind is about him and these guys going and robbing someone, and he sneaks up on him. He turns around and shoots him and kills him. So then he's talking about how like,
got any more cold ones?
You got a beer there? But he's in Murder on My Mind. He's talking about how I killed my friend. And this is what happens, right? But in Mind on My Murder, it's from the view of his buddy getting killed
by him.
But it's all the same lyrics, but switched to the perspective of the person. So in one of them, he's like he says like, but he like looks up at him and asks if he's gonna be okay or whatever, you know. And he's like, I shook my head no. So then the other one, he's like, I looked up and asked if I was going to be okay, and he shook his head no, or whatever. So it's all the same lyrics, just switched around for the perspective. So it's kind of cool, artsy, whatever. But then I find out all this shit. I'm like, oh,
it's like crazy.
I think he did really actually kill his people, you know? Like, that's fucked up.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So it's definitely a crazy, like, scenario for sure.
Yeah, it's quite an industry, and like the people who seem to participate in it come from these walks of life where that's like a reality, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's and now how easy it is to make music and be independent. That's a younger audience too, right? Younger artists and.
Well, and I think the sad thing is that it's like anything; it's an industry, and they see these kids who are impressionable and
vulnerable.
Yeah,
they want the money, right? So offer them something.
Yeah, and we get these, and then we'll get them singing to all these other kids and selling this message and sort of shit, right?
Yeah, for sure.
They just don't know any better in a lot of cases.
Yeah. What even comes into the same thing as like earlier we were talking about with the trans stuff where it's
I was just thinking about that. It's like they spent years telling us, video games and violent movies. There's like impressionable minds, young impressionable minds. We should keep kids away from this because kids are really vulnerable at that age and they really take everything in. You know what I mean? So we should keep them away from this kind of stuff.
Yeah,
and then here they are, just throwing the crazy.
Tranny
Here's how to suck a dick. And
what
are we doing? What's going on?
But I just meant in the sense that people are lost, right?
Yeah.
So like, where do I find this comfort, right? Like, okay, I find this comfort in fucking transitioning, or in this instance, what you're talking about is like, fucking. So it's like, I hear this shit, I see this stuff, whatever. I have this like comfort of this safety here in this fucking place or whatever.
Yeah.
Right?
So there's an old saying, and as I get older, all these little adages and shit, like that's why they make them. They know, like our ancestors and everyone know that we're so fucking dumb. We can't remember a lot of shit. So make it simple, like keep it simple, stupid, like things like that, right?
Yeah.
But there's so many of these little fucking sayings and shit. And the one that I'm thinking of is fucking skip my mind because I'm half in the bag and smoke too much dope.
Nice. It's 4 GFI.
But essentially, what we're talking about, the idle hands are the devil's workshop.
Yeah.
So people who are bored and don't have hobbies and vulnerable people for the most part, they don't have sports is a good thing for kids. It's going too far. It's just turned into winning and not sport, but just things to keep you distracted. And when people aren't distracted, they don't have these things that or a community to draw them in or whatnot. The idle hands become the devil's workshop. So people who don't have things going on, they start these things creep in, right? It's like us when we don't, we don't have things going on in our lives that are meaningful and purposeful. We find bad things to do, right?
True.
Right.
Exactly. And we find meaning.
And I'm not saying it's bad to do that, but it's just probably not the most productive from like a humanity standpoint, perpetuating humanity,
sure.
Well, it's like better to find something you want to do than falling into something that you don't want to do.
Yeah, we all need something, right? And I guess the sad thing is, in varying degrees, what different people need is just in different scenarios is just not what we would want at all. But some people that's what they need in that case.
Yeah, you're right.
Wow, you know what, man?
Or just that point in their life, everyone's at a different point in their lives.
I needed to hear that, man.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah, we just got to work on leaving everyone alone, but we're cultured. Like, I find the religions and stuff like that, it's cultured. We're cultured to be competitive and, like, to that not be good enough and the person around to, like, care about what they're doing, like, it's...
Yeah,
what the fuck does it matter,
Yeah.
Like, I live in town and just see your dog barking. People are, like, bitching about dog barking or whatever.
Yeah, for sure. It's all about the fucking
there might be
American dream,
one night of summer where I'm fucking just, like, buzzing on coffee or whatever. I can't sleep and I can hear the dog barking, but like fucking 99% of the time I just go to sleep.
I never complain about the
that
dog
poor
barking,
fucking dog. I'm more upset that poor dog's fucking locked up or whatever he needs.
Why is the dog barking?
That's
what I'd be thinking.
Just
like,
go
what's
to sleep
bothering that dog, man?
But it's like, now I'm gonna write town council and say the dog kept me up all night. If that dog kept me up, I got bigger problems. My window's fucking sucking.
For
you know
sure.
what I mean? Like,
but
it's just like people are just looking for a reason not to be happy with what they have because they've been told their whole lives, don't be happy with what you have. It's never enough. It's not good enough.
Oh man, I experience that shit with like rich people all the time, like working in like the industry that I do. Like I work with a lot of fucking millionaires and like shit like that. You know, people with like massive properties. And like they come at you with like the stupidest problems, like, oh, we're having like this garden party and my grass isn't perfect, or there's too many weeds, or like this needs to be done. Or it's like,
I remember the one, the Frenches or whatever. They wanted the perfect grass. I remember she came out to us and she was like, "We're after the perfect grass here." You remember?
So
that?
we just cut out the fucking dog piss holes and roll a new sod.
But I mean, this is like, and it's for the stupidest things, right? Like again, like they want to impress like their other rich friends. It's like. Go print out a fucking bank receipt and like look at it. You'll make yourself smile. Like who cares what your fucking grass looks like? Why is that important? Why is that a big deal?
Weed that's in fucking the right, left of their fucking property, front, left. You know what I mean? Not at the backyard, but that weed in the front yard. I want that gone. You know, like,
it's just like I don't know. Like
I like to see like if you really didn't like that weed and you saw that weed that you just be willing to do something about that
yourself.
You know
yeah,
I mean?
yeah,
like,
exactly.
Just like, you know, I'll get you. You know, the boys looked after me. It looks pretty good here. They left one for me so I can feel like I'm part of the team. Right?
Sure.
You know, like I gotta get dirty here.
Man.
I'm telling you, I put one weed a year, and this is the weed.
But like you said, people
like,
just want to be upset.
And that's it, right? They look for reasons. Like they've got everything in the world. They've got the most beautiful fucking houses. They've got the most beautiful cars. They've got the best jobs. Like I'm sure they're the most unhappy fucking people in the world.
Oh, yeah. That's how we're programmed.
They have all this material bullshit that that says, oh, you're supposed to be like this is what makes you. Like you say, the American dream, right? Like that thing that it's like this is success if you have the shit.
You know,
it's like
I got more out of just sitting here with you guys shooting the shit than you know, like whatever I could go do for the next 2 days. You know, for the most part. And it's human connection is what we really crave and what is fun and exciting for us. But we're being taught that that's like weird and not cool and like don't do it. And you're only connecting these fucking weird ass forms in different ways. And you know, and that'll never change. But if people lose the idea of that human connection, that it even exists, that's the scary thing. You know, if they take that away from us, then we can't find ways to connect. But it's a crazy world, man. We don't need a lot. We just need to have each other and fucking talk and, you know.
Well, it's like that minimalist shit, man. Like that's so real, man. Like like we don't need a lot.
A Ferrari be really cool to sit here and look at. We'd all look at it and fucking maybe drive it for a little bit and fucking burn the gas out of it. But at the end of the day, we'd have more fun talking about that with each other, the people in our lives, than the fun that we actually had driving it, right? And we chase those experiences like, oh, I want to drive the Ferrari so I can talk about it. Well, you don't need to talk about a fucking Ferrari. You can talk about whatever. We just talked for how long about nonsense and nothing. No, actual, real, legit topics and stuff and whatnot.
But it's a memory, right? That like it's just as
and you learn from the conversation.
Valuable as any material.
We start to validate our own existence when we talk to each other.
Yeah.
When you have a conversation with someone, we validate our own experience. When we're quantified as a number we can generate, we're not validated as human beings doing that. We're just punching that card or being that number. We're being that resource.
Yeah.
But as people, when we talk to each other and communicate and experience our senses, touch, taste, all those things, right? That's when we actually validate ourselves as humans and differentiate ourselves from just being fucking here versus actually living. But we're not taught that as children. We're not taught that in our culture. We're taught to.
I took mushrooms and I learned that.
Feeling alive.
I took a lot of mushrooms
shit
too.
Helps, man. Honestly, I would tell anyone fucking a psychedelic experience is like one of the best ways to
so these shamans
shift your perspective and your viewpoints.
Or Athabasca, do you know what that guy? You know what that is, guys?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah.
So there's like exactly what you said. So the key to like true enlightenment and shit. Now there's like theories. We were talking about like all the different fucking flat earthers and center of the earth and space is fucking full of aliens and all this kind of shit. But these other people who like believe that the key to the mind is unlocking this and like finding the truth and awakening and stuff. Shamans.
Yeah.
So you go. I want to say it's like originally like Himalayan type of thing or something like that. Like in some sort of like Indonesia fucking culture.
Right.
And there's this Athabasca?
It's ayahuasca.
Ayahuasca. Yes. Right. So you do know. You are aware of this.
Of course.
Yeah.
Ayahuasca, man. Yeah.
So yeah, and then you do this shit under the care of this person who understands what it all does. You trip your fucking mind out.
Take you to a brand new universe.
And through that trip, you're supposed to like gain this enlightenment of how it all works, right? Scares me a little bit.
DMT.
Kind of thing. I know some guy like
peyote.
Peyote is like a.
Yeah, but the ayahuasca, they use plants that have the DMT in it. Yeah. So there's like DMT
that's the
that
drug
you get from
or whatever.
the frog.
Like
there's
the
DMT,
actual,
there's DMT you get from the frog and you smoke it and shit, right? But then you can extract it from plants as well and smoke it. and then like you get like this 15-20 minute like crazy fucking
Yeah,
experience.
yeah.
But then they take those plants and they make them into this like sludge shit, and they boil it down or whatever. And you drink that, and apparently you puke a whole bunch, but then it's a longer experience.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's like you purge apparently.
Yeah.
And you have to have someone there like
There's a place near Belleville that
tending
does it,
to
man.
you, right? Like that's
You
why
go
the
and stay
shamans
for
are
the
there.
weekend and shit.
I don't have the desire to do it. I'd rather
yeah.
fucking trip out on a bunch of mushrooms and with my buddies.
Man,
and
I've had some
Yeah.
crazy experiences with mushrooms. Like honestly, like
Oh yeah.
I like them. I've always had a good time on them.
for sure. There's fucking Duncan Trussell. I don't know if you know Duncan Trussell.
Is that like a guy or a place?
He's a guy. He's a comedian. I would say.
Okay.
But also like
Sure, are
he's
you
got
looking
like
him
sort
up?
of a philosopher's mind, and he talks about mushrooms a lot and how like he's got this one joke about how again there's like this super consciousness that exists. And when you do mushrooms, you sort of like get access to this higher plane of consciousness. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that this higher plane of consciousness is like waiting to give us all this like crazy information about the universe and how it all works, and you know all the answers are there. And then fucking all we keep sending them is these fucking stupid teenagers that just want to have a fucking
like trip out or
they're like
whatever.
man fucking da-da. And then
Oh my
this is
God, the
like you
walls
get
are
access to like
closing in on
literally
me.
exactly you get access to like all the information of the entire universe when you do mushrooms, but all these like dumb teenagers
Just
are
don't
like,
even know
man,
what they're fucking doing.
the clouds
Yeah,
look so
yeah.
fucking cool, dude.
Just burning it up, right? It's like a limited, finite fucking resource.
He's a
and they're
funny
just
dude. You should
burning
look.
through
You
it.
should look. He's a philosopher kind of guy, and he says
Duncan
that kind
what?
of Duncan Trussell.
Duncan
Yeah,
Trussell.
Yeah, he's been on the Joe Rogan podcast a couple times.
Okay.
And
Okay,
he's got his own.
If I
think
see
he's
him,
got
I
his
might
own-
recognize him.
Yeah, he's
but
got a
I
very
don't-
distinct voice, in my opinion, and
Okay.
he's again funny dude, and
Nice.
talks about this kind of shit a lot, and it's funny.
Yeah.
Anywho's.
Well, I
Okay,
think we should probably
we're
wrap
almost
it up.
done, but
We
I
gotta
just
go.
I
have
hate to just do that.
Keep her going.
Kaido,
Five.
Kaido. No, I just
I got
wanted.
nothing better to
Just,
do
just
tonight.
yeah, but no, I wanted to say this right before we leave is that I got the message from Buddy right now.
Oh, about
nice.
the
Kaido
Here we
race
go.
cars.
Kaido.
Come around.
Kaido race cars.
That's still not
Kaido.
the word that I thought it was.
To look it up. Kaido race car. But yeah, man.
They're
So
like
I've got
this.
some homework. I got to look into this and the transmissions
That
in
right there.
C4 Corvettes. Yeah, that's the type of shit.
That's what I'm talking about. Kaido.
That's wild.
How do you spell it?
Kaido.
Okay.
Might be said different. But
Again,
anyways,
I thought it was closer
I
to
just
Bukaki,
figured.
but
I just
I'm
figured
glad
that was
you got
perfect because
that,
Buddy
yeah.
texted me and was like, "Sorry, Mr. Call." I'm like, "No, we're in here right
Yeah,
now. I want to hear the
perfect
fucking thing." And I'm
timing,
like, "We'll
yeah.
end the show. We'll end the show with that." And I'll tell them it's Kaido race cars and the fucking thing we are trying to figure out earlier. That's what it is. Gang.
Yeah.
Do you have anything you want to tell the people?
I just want to say thanks so much, for having me, and the people that are listening and your listeners, like, thanks for chiming in and giving us some feedback and giving us something to talk about.
Fucking right, man.
Yeah, that's good. It's all good.
We hope you'll come back sometime.
Yeah, I think I'm looking forward to it if you'll have me back.
Oh, we
Fucking
would.
right,
man.
we're
I
done,
don't
man.
think we've went this long in a while now.
No, it's been a
so-
while.
No,
man.
yeah,
it's
Almost
Yeah,
3
yeah.
hours. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
been
man.
pretty
We
long.
went the distance.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we had
appreciate
some
you coming
fun.
through, man.
Yeah,
Good
appreciate
talks
it a
and
lot.
shit. And it actually, I really fucking just ran away on it. Honest.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
It is
sorry
great.
about that.
No,
I
no,
can get
no, it's
very-
good. No, it's
That's what it's
perfect.
all
I told
about,
you.
man. That's it.
Perfect,
Yeah,
man.
that's what it's all
Good.
about. So,
But
no, it was
yeah,
great.
so Kaido race cars, all the other fun stuff, and a big gang all the way from here to you.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, again, thanks for coming through, Rob.
Yeah, thank
and,
everybody out for thanks for listening. Thanks for being there.
Sorry, but you gotta walk home.
Oh.
Yeah.
Any motherfucking
I'm
way.
hitting Golden Palace on the way home.
Yeah, you gotta.
Save one for me.
So there was something I want to tell you guys, but I forget, and it's gonna be good either way. But have a good weekend. Thanks for watching, and to everybody who is watching live, big shout out to y'all, Afi, LT,
Yes.
bunch of Nigerians, all those mofks. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, I'm Stylez the Prophet.
I'm B Show.
And I'm Jonesy.
Together with the Basement Weirdos, this is the 4G Audio Podcast, and we're out of here. Gang, peace out.
Catch y'all in the next one.
Cut.